how's it going? And welcome to Whiskey Wins with me, Stuart, and Stevie. We're currently at Stevie's. We decided why not do it here. Obviously, COVID rules have been lifted for a while, and we've not really, we've not done this before, so we thought we'd give it a go. I've got a little keyboard in front of me, so if you see me typing away, it's me trying to respond to any comments or that. Stevie will keep the eye contact on the camera, so you all so you all feel like you are joining in. So it's just gonna be a laid back chat. Stevie and myself are just gonna basically have a wee chat between us. We've got no guest. We were going to have a guest, but he was had other work commitments.
No guests, no pals.
Just the two of us. So we're just going to have a couple beers and a couple whiskies, and the theme's going to be kind of favourite whiskies. So that's like favourite from our current collection. I've brought some of mine over, well, two. And Stevie's got an abundance of whiskies here for us to jump into anyway. So we'll talk about our favourite whiskey, our current favourite whiskey, and then we'll maybe move into kind of past favourites, favourite distilleries, and whatever else. So yeah, I'll put up some comments, see who we've got in, and just see who we've got here.
It's quite a difficult topic, I think, to do, because you've got, to me, whiskey, your favourites changes with the seasons, or sometimes by the months, or if you've been somewhere and just discovered one. So that was quite hard to try and think, right, okay, I know what one of my current favourites is, but then trying to think overall, is there a distillery or is there a whiskey, and what's it, where consistently, if you go to it, it's always a nice and pleasant dram. So, but I mean, you know me, I've changed over the years. You can tell from some of the shelves, they were the favourite last year, and now this year it's these ones, and it's So we'll see what everybody else thinks as well.
Yeah, and just make sure everybody can hear us. If anybody wants to just shout in the chat, because we've got no feedback here. We've got visual feedback and no audio. We did check the audio going live, so we're just hoping that everybody can hear us. We've got Bart in the chat. We've got Mark, a whiskey bond. We've got Martin, Dram Log. It's good to see you. Hope you're going to have a fantastic meal. You're just about to sit down to dinner with his family.
Nice.
And we've got Willie, who's in, and he's saying, "Is this perhaps a cunning plan to rifle Stevie's whiskey stash?"
No, he already has a cunning plan for that. He waits till I'm at work, and he's no offshore, and he just comes in whenever he likes.
I basically just come in and have my hand at whatever is here.
I've got to have an online video on my room security cam all the time.
Yeah, so I think we'll pour our first whiskey, and we're going to start with Stevie's current favourite.
All right, okay. Well, for my current one, I'm going with his Glen 17-year-old limited edition triple cask portwood finish. 2,700 bottles of it. And I actually bought this as a gift for my dad. And when he opened it and tasted it, thought, I need to be getting me one of those. In fact, I think recently for me, Glen Cadam's a bit in the shadow of Tom and Tool. Do you want to? Glen Cadam's a bit in the shadow of Tom and Tool, but I think they've been coming out with some really interesting finishes. This one, so the flavour profile. Oh, you've got it.
So it says we'll go through. In fact, we'll go through what we think of it first, and then we can decipher the bottle. But yeah, it's portwood finish, non-chill filtered, no added colouring, and it's 46% ABV. So I'm sure, I think I put it up. I don't know if the window's just letting a bit too much light in, but yeah, that's the box there anyway. You can kind of see it. 17-year-old Glen Cadam. And I know Mark that's in the chat, a Whiskey Bond, he's been getting like really into Glen Cadam recently.
Yeah. This one's it's a bit lighter than a sherry. More of the sort of red fruits coming through. Very, very smooth and light on the palate, I think. No really a tongue tingler.
Yeah, with the 46% maybe just being a little bit less punchy. We've got Drew from Arizona. He's just popping in. He can't stay, unfortunately. Good to see you, Drew, or
Thank you.
Sort of see you. And Mark's saying here he's going to pour a dram of the 12-year-old Portwood, which is a 12-year-old Glen Cadam. So
yeah, because I think they did either 2 or 3 different ones. This one was it triple? Yeah, this was a triple cask. The 12-year-old, I can't remember what that was, and I think there might even be a 15. I'm not sure. But it's, yeah, for me, it's just a very drinkable. Every time you go to it, there's no doubt that, yeah, that's what I remember from the last time. Where sometimes your tastes change and you think, oh, not as good as I thought last time. But for me, this is always a winner. And my dad thoroughly enjoyed it as well as the old guy across the road from him as well. They both had a good few of these.
It is easy. This is my first dram of the day, and it's not like, sometimes I feel like when you first take a sip of whiskey, it can be a little bit too much, and you need to take like another one to kind of acclimatise your palate almost. But this is like straight away off the bat, easy drinking, and you're getting all those kind of flavours come through. We've got Martin just saying he bought his first Glen Cadam a few months ago, the 15-year-old, and he's struggling with it. He's actually struggling through it. That's a shame, because I think we've had the 15. I don't know if is that just the normal 15, or is it a certain finish or anything like that?
I did have another Glen Cadam. There's the other cracking one that came out roughly the same time as this, and I don't think I've seen any other whiskey do it. They did a 15-year-old in a white port cask, and it is just absolutely lovely as well, silky smooth. A bit lighter than that, but more sort of melony grapes and sort of white fruits, but lovely stuff.
Yeah, he's just saying it was the normal 15-year-old he's got, but Bart's jumped in saying that the recent 15-year-old was a recreation of the 15 that really got a lot of praise. I don't think they succeeded there. It's not as good. So that's probably a case of like what was it, Glen Dronach 15, where they tried to. It's maybe the same as that. Yeah, this is good. This is it's definitely rich. I think
it's an interesting topic. It's not really on our scope, but you mentioned they're recreating something, and it just reminded me we've got Rosebank coming online whenever next year. You've got what's the one on Islay coming online?
Aurora. Port Ellen.
Port Ellen coming online. Now they're going to be looking to recreate. But it will be interesting. Will it be? Can it ever be
the same?
That's
the thing, because that's what one of the guys was talking about. He got the one of the boys bought the 31-year-old Rosebank, and that's supposedly the last of the old Rosebank stock, supposedly. So he kind of bought that, and obviously the new Rosebanks are going to come out, and they won't ever be the exact same, but they're obviously trying to hit a similar flavour profile.
Unless the chemistry and process behind it is so precise and exact that people like us would never tell the difference. I just don't know.
So Neil's asking, how much was this? How much did you pay for this?
Oh, I actually can't remember. I'd need to Google it.
I don't think he paid that much.
110 maybe, something like.
So possibly 110 for a 17-year-old, non-chill filter, no added colouring, port finish, and 46% ABV. For me, it's quite jammy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the like, yeah, maybe just the nose, like a jam sponge or something like that. Yeah, very jammy.
If you've had
feel.
like jam sponge pudding,
Mm.
and the aftertaste that's left, like I've got to sit for a wee bit, a minute or so, but the taste that's left in your mouth is like, as you say, jam. It's like reminds me of we used to get the raspberry or strawberry jam sponge pudding in the tins.
It's very like it's a little, it's very sweet, like a little, yeah, sticky. It's fantastic. It's a great nose. I've just been drinking the whiskey and not really thinking about the palate because I've been thinking about the chat and been thinking about everything else. But Mark's just came away saying that it's about £120.
Yeah.
But the 17, what he's saying is the jewel in the Glen Cadams crown. So Mark's a big fan of this.
This one.
Yeah, I believe so. But yeah, I'll see what I'm getting in the palate.
It's very rare to have a whiskey where, I think I've said this before in the chats, where you think, would I buy another bottle of it? And quite often, I don't buy another bottle simply because there's so much to choose from out there. But now and again, there's one that I get where I think, yeah, okay, I would buy another bottle of that, and I will buy another bottle. And this is one. Because before you realise it, it's run out and it's gone, and you can't replace it.
Yeah, I think that's like the issue with my kind of rating. Like I'll review whiskies on would I buy it again, and it's hard because it's more of a lot of times it's kind of like a theoretical would I buy it again, because there's like certain occasions where I would buy it again, but at the same time, like you said, there's so many whiskies to try. Like I don't always want to buy the same whiskies. In the palate though, I'm struggling flavour wise. I think it's a little peppery, but
really,
yeah, just a touch peppery. I don't mean struggling as in I don't like it. Like struggling as in I feel it's a little. I don't know. I'm struggling to pick out flavours. I feel like the nose is a lot more kind of obvious.
I love it.
It's great. Definitely is. There is a little fizz. Maybe a little bit of sherbet or something. What about you in the palate?
Yeah, there's actually, I took quite a decent mouthful.
I know, I was going to say small measures, but
I took a decent mouthful that time, and yeah, there's a wee bit of fizz there, but it's. Yeah.
So we've picked Stevie's current favourite dram out of his collection, and then we'll get on to mine in a minute, in a couple minutes. But we're wondering like what.
Yeah. What about you guys out there? What have you all got a dram in your hand, and did you choose your current favourite or something else?
Yeah, so if you're drinking along with us, do you have like a current favourite whiskey? Is it too hard to pick? Because sometimes these things can be difficult. And obviously your mood changes, like Stevie said at the start, different weather, different food, what you've ate and that. But do you have like a kind of, if you look at your collection, a whiskey that you'll look at, say you're struggling to pick and you're thinking, oh, what am I going to go for tonight? And you just look and you see it, and you go, oh, there he is, that's the one I'll have. Yeah, let us know what you're drinking and let us know what you have. Martin saying he loves the wallpaper and the general setup of the room you're in. Great setting for some dram. Yeah, this is Stevie's whiskey room. It is very cosy, very unique, and definitely a great whiskey room. Mark saying he's just finished a White Heather 15. I think that was was it a Douglas Lane or a White and Mackay? It was a blend.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been. I can't remember. You'll need to tell me, Mark, who done the blend, but I can't remember for the life of me now. I feel like it was White and Mackay or someone like that. But they came out with this White Heather 15, and he says an absolute pelter for whiskey. So would you say, obviously you've finished that, but would you say like that's your kind of go-to favourite if it was still around? Will we have a wee look at so nose, porty sweetness underpins gentle malty spiciness. Damsons, dates, and raisins mingle in a galaxy of aromas. See, I thought, I got a little bit of spiciness.
Oh, you did say the spice.
I let lush sweet malt and plummy port merge and welcome the arrival of soft oaky spice. I suppose it is a bit soft. The finish, generous porty sweetness gives way to a spicy finale.
That's exactly what you said.
It's
It's not you're right, but
no, it's not often. No, Louise is just oh sorry, so it's a Billy Walker blend. Mark's saying I couldn't remember where it came from. It's a Billy Walker blend, and obviously he's quite infamous. Louise is just saying, "Oh, we can hear you." I thought they were at a walk.
yeah, I thought they were walking the dog.
But maybe they're watching whilst they walk. So yeah, I'm really.
Well, the show's not to be missed, to be honest. So,
No, it's a.
you know,
I mean, we've got
and,
9.
and I hope the guy who's busy having his tea with his family's got his phone next to him when he's on.
What watching it? Martin, could you please join in the conversation? No, I'm watching Whiskey Wins.
Just tell us the age of your kids so that we can keep it appropriate for the age.
Yeah, I think this is a great dram. Do you think it's a little bit pricey, or do you think it's like bang on for what it is?
I think prices in general just now are pretty well, for lack of a better word, pretty mental just now. You know, and I think I've said this before on here. If I was to go back like 30 years, and it'll be the same in 30 years' time for you guys as well. But if I was starting with prices as they are today to get into whiskey, you know, let's say mid 20s, somewhere 25 to 30. It doesn't really matter. But if you look at the pricing now, to get on the bandwagon, you know, you need to already have, and at that age you tend not to have, like, you know, you're starting out, you've not got the biggest salary in the world unless you're one of the offshore skivers. But yeah, I can't imagine trying to start this now with the prices.
I think I was kind of discussing this today. I think you have to be like savvy with your money in a sense. I know Mark, I'm pretty sure he bought the White Heather off auction, and he got like £10 cheaper than it was RRP or something along those lines. So if you kind of can be savvy and you can get things cheaper, then yeah. But I think a lot of prices are going up. But you kind of completely avoided the question by rambling on about
what was
prices in general. The question was, do you think that is worth the £120?
Oh, I never answered that.
No, you kind of went around it. When whilst you're thinking, I'll read out some. So Mark's saying his go-to would be the SRV 5 Thompson Bros. He ran back to Royal Mail Whiskies when we left, and he got another bottle of it. So that's a new blend out from Thompson Bros. He's enjoying that, and the White Heather. So it's interesting to see that his favourites are currently 2 blends, which are affordable and good pricing. Hi, Just Whiskey, good to have you in. Hope you're enjoying the chat. And James is saying, trying out Whiskey Exchange own cask Girvan, not bad price for the age. So what age is that, James? So what do you reckon? Do you reckon it's worth the 120, 17-year-old? And it's well presented in
well,
everything.
Well, I actually find the Glen cadam packaging too close in style to Tom and Tool, but they are owned by the same people. I wish they'd separate themselves a bit more in terms of packaging. But that aside,
more presentation, like on-chill filter, bloody colouring.
That aside, and everything, you know, for me, the answer would be yes, because I thoroughly enjoy it. So, yeah, I guess that question, if you ask the same question to somebody who wasn't as impressed with it, you'd get a different answer. For me, is it worth it? I can't answer if it's worth it. Would I buy it again? Will I buy it again? Yes, I will buy another one. For sure.
And you'd recommend it?
And I would thoroughly recommend it.
So it's a whiskey win.
It's a whiskey win.
It's definitely a whiskey win. I mean, for me, I suppose it depends what circumstance you're in, but 17-year-old, £120, it's not too bad. I mean, you get 18-year-olds that are roughly the same price a year, here or there. It's well presented, and it's like a great whiskey. So, like, I've enjoyed it.
I mean, you're even getting some younger whiskies coming out.
Well, you look at
up
yeah.
At the beginning of 3 figures and stuff now.
Well, you look at Daft Mill. I always go back to Daft Mill, but you look at Daft Mill, for example, their 15-year-old that just came out. Yes, it's cask strength, but they're charging £175 for that, a 15-year-old. But also they can kind of charge for that, and I'm sorry if you heard me, but
they can hear that, by the way.
I know, and you can smell it. So James, it's a 31-year-old Girvan for £85. So obviously it's a grain, but that's a decent price.
What one is it?
It's Whisky Exchange's own cask. 31-year-old Girvan for £85. That seems pretty good, especially if it's a decent dram. Martin says he's picking a favourite's very hard. I think he has to be divided into subcategories, which makes sense because maybe peated and maybe even regions or what, something like that. But yeah, I can kind of agree with that. He also thinks price value has to be a part of the equation.
Value is a very personal thing because it's down to 2 things. It's one, it's about affordability. So if you can afford it, that's a sign. Then in terms of value for money, again, it's down to how much value you put on that £110 versus how much value that adds to your enjoyment having that there to be able to try it. I can't think of any other way to describe it. I don't think it's a black and white answer for everybody.
For me, like the price and value being part of your favourite, I can kind of see that. Like I've always said, like Blair Atholl 12, the Flora and Fauna has been it's a good one that you can just go to and you can constantly buy it because it's affordable. So I can kind of understand that, saying that way. But for me, what I was thinking when we kind of conjured this up was more like if I'm looking at my shelf, regardless of like price, I'm just thinking, what am I drinking at the moment? A lot of. What am I enjoying a lot of at the moment? What's my current mood in, and kind of regardless of price. But I can see what you're saying. If it's a like an Ardbeg 10 or something you've constantly got in your rotation, then maybe I could see like that.
I mean, another good example is like, well, I opened that 19-year-old Glen.
Couple nights ago, Sunday night,
and I had a couple of them to myself last night. And it's a sherry finish. Over the course of sort of last year and this year, I've got about 10 bottles of Glen, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I had a couple of the sherry ones to myself last night because I thought the night before we had a few, and then we opened it.
Yeah.
So last night I had one, and then I had a second one, and again, so I didn't. It's an instant favourite for me, but I didn't think it was fair to put it in because it's just open. It's just open. So yeah, if I look at the shelves, yeah, there's a few favourites, and I find each year something new emerges. I mean, Glen Cadam for me has only emerged in the last year. Fetter Cairn's another one, and then, as I said to you, when it comes to we'll
get on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just looking at more comments here. We've got Ryan, who's head of 8 Doors, basically, big poncho up there. He's saying blends are going in a great direction at the moment, which they are, and I think Dornock's kind of pioneering that. There's the likes of Mark mentioned Billy Walker's blends and that. There's a lot of blends kind of.
A few Douglas Lang.
Yeah, Douglas Lang as well, whether it be like Towner's Beastie or that. But I'm not sure if they're like teaspoon or whatever. But like whatever blends are becoming more, I don't know, not approachable. People are just buying them more. It used to be the other way about, didn't it? Everybody used to buy blends, and malts were kind of like the more expensive, and now it's went the other way, whereas people are looking down on blends, but blends are now coming back again, and it's kind of gone full circle.
I kind of see. Well, bear in mind, 30 years ago when blends were the more popular, it was blend. It was proper blend, including grain and blah blah blah. But now you've got blends and you've got single malt blends.
Aye.
So I don't know if what he's drinking in terms of blend is true blend or is it a single malt blend.
Yeah. Well, I think the SRB 5, I'm pretty sure, is just I don't think it's blended malt. I think it's a blended whiskey.
But the single, I used to turn my nose up a wee bit as well until I started trying a couple. Then you think, well, actually, it's a bit of a craft, really.
Mm.
You know, to take 6 different whiskies that have been in different cask types and stuff, and trying to balance not only the age but the flavors against each other and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I've actually, I'm kind of a bit more respectful of that.
Yeah. Even when you get them in like big vats and that, how they, like, is it a Solera they call it, whatever, how they manage to keep a flavour either kind of quite similar, or how they manage to not overdo it or make it go bad or go off or whatever. They seem to keep it on top of it and seem to.
But it's a traditional blend, and for everybody that's been on a whiskey distillery tour, you'll have heard this, I'm sure, where they say, you know, if they have a cask that's not quite right, they'll blend it off, right? And that's the great thing about blending and vatting stuff. You can hide a multitude of scents in there. But a single malt blend where it's just 4, 5, or 6 malts, like Monkey Shoulder, is a good example. Then you begin to realise that, wait a minute,
it's a bit of an art
to that.
So Neil's saying he bought a Douglas Lane Old Particular Speyburn 15, 55.4% ABV for 55 quid. You think this is where the value is? Yeah, that's pretty good value. High strength ABV, decent age. Can't really complain with that. Whiskey Bond is saying SRV5 is blended malt, so it is just blended malt.
Who was the last guy? Sorry,
Neil.
Neil is it the Old Particular? Is it the Midnight series?
Yeah,
that you've got
Midnight series.
Because I think my dad's got that, and he gave me a taste of it, and it doesn't hit you like a 55%. And I've actually got the Daluane for the same collection. I can't remember if I've opened it or not.
Yeah, we opened it the other night.
Yeah.
It was really tasty. Remember the cans.
So yeah, so that's another one in the same series you've got. Now this is an 18-year-old. I really can't remember the price, but I know the Speyburn you're talking about because my dad's got it and it was cracking. I know I've got an Old Particular Mortlach 13-year-old that wasn't that expensive. It was down in that sort of price range. So yeah, it's
looking for that, especially independent bottlers. A lot of your value will be there, but even some of them are creeping up. So yeah, Bart's saying went back to Kahlua 12 a while ago. Delighted with that whiskey. Still cheap, perfect daily jam. 43%, but a current favourite. He says Springbank 12, probably the last I'll ever drink of it though. So that's a few of his favourites. James is saying it's finding a good base malt to add to. He thinks for like blending and that, which kind of makes sense if you've got a good base malt. We've got Jeff Whiskey in. Evening, Stuart and Stevie. Hope you both are good. Yes, we are.
Thank
We're
you.
just in a different location. Well, I'm in a different location that's foreign. Ryan's saying that the Daluane up there is class, and I agree with him. When we opened that the other night there, it was fantastic. And Bill Monteith saying, cheers Stuart and all, glad to see you're doing it live. Yeah, we like doing the lives. It's quite good interacting with other people, and we always feel like it's a laid back experience. And yeah, chilled. And plus, we like talking.
I do have one issue with tonight's live though, is that it's supposed to be about your favourite whiskey. So far we've had my favourite whiskey, and the glass has been empty for quite a while, and I've yet to discover what Stuart's favourite whiskey is. Is anybody else sitting there poised wondering what Stuart's favourite whiskey is?
Yeah, so we'll get on to my favourite whiskey then.
Oh, right, okay.
So the way I see, just make sure I can drop the mouse and close everything down. The way I seen this conversation and how I kind of conjured it up in my head, like I said, was looking at my shelf, what I'm drinking most of, what I'm getting most enjoyment out of at the time, and that's how I went and picked my favourite. So my favourite is, and it's a difficult one because it's not something you can just switch off to. It does take a little bit of interrogation, but it's an absolutely fantastic whiskey.
Before you say what it is, it's a scary prospect for me because I know Stuart's whiskey shelves, and he's got some pretty groovy, funky taste going on there. So I'm intrigued to know what this is going to be.
Yeah. So sorry, Neil's just said that it is from that series. It is from that series.
Yeah, it's cracking. It's a cracking dram. It's big on.
Yeah, and Bart said, I thought Stevie was going to say that Stu made him wear that T-shirt for it. I pretty much did.
Well, glad for pointing that out, by the way. Right, I'm in my own house, doing this Whiskey live, and now apparently there's a uniform. And they never even mentioned it to me. I went upstairs and hanging on my bedroom door was the hanger with a T-shirt on. So I think we need to get it changed to whimsical moments, is my thoughts. My daughter was going to get a marker pen and draw on it. We might still do it. But I thought I would just pander to them and wear the T-shirt. So
at least I supply the PPE, the office wear. Neil was just asking what Dalyun is that, Stuart. So it's the 18-year-old from the Midnight series, the Old Particular whiskey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to show you my favourite. I'm going to get bored. I've just reviewed it. I'm trying to get a good angle of that. So it's just been reviewed on my channel. For some reason the camera's not really focusing. It might just be because of where we are. But anyway, it's the Tormore 28-year-old from Thompson Bros, 47.3% ABV, so still quite a low ABV. Non-chill filtered, no added colouring. 1992 was when it was distilled. So yeah, we'll give this a go.
We had an old Tormore that we got from Cadams, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a 30-year-old.
That was fantastic.
It was. I think when Tormore's done properly, it can really. But this is just bourbon. You might need to let it sit for a bit. It takes a little bit to open up.
Well, I've been waiting for a while for it, so I'm not going to let it sit for too long.
There's a bit of cork in this. Yeah, it takes a little bit to open up, but when it does open up, it's truly rewarding. I think it's an absolutely fantastic whiskey. It's been one of my favourites so far that I've been like enjoying and getting down on.
Really? Oh yeah.
Getting down.
That happens when my daughter goes to bed.
Jesus. It's actually a fruit fly.
Is it?
I don't know.
In the bottle?
No, it was in the glass. It's fine. So we've got some comments to go through whilst Stevie interrogates that whiskey. So we've got, you think the T-shirt's bad, Stevie? Wait till you see the bubble hats he's working on. Donner Pass Whiskies here. He says, hi Stuart. Thanks for the advice you gave me about Pitlochry for my trip in May. Was already a Blair Athol fanboy, even more so after the Distillery visit. Yeah, it was. We've done the Distillery together.
Oh, did he get to try the cask?
It may have been a different cask, but yeah, did you get to try the cask? Did you do the tasting where you get all the Diageo releases and then you get the Blair Athol single cask in the little lounge area? Yeah, I done it myself and had to get Stevie to do it because I thought it was too much to miss, especially for the price. I think it was like what, £30 or something. Quite cheap, quite an experience. I mean the Diageo releases weren't anything great. There wasn't anything too special, but I think the single cask Blair Athol was something huge to try.
I mean, the best Blair Athol for me still is the Floor and Fauna bottle in the Blair Athol, and was, say it's, what is it, 60 quid, somewhere around about 50, 60 quid.
Yeah.
That's a great example. But you've got
a few Blair Athol.
And there's one or two I'm desperate to try.
Martin's away for his dinner. Enjoy your dinner, Martin. And Jason.
Foods for wimps.
Jason's just asking like what whiskey we've got, and yeah. So the first whiskey for Stevie's favourite or current favourite was a Glen 17-year-old Portwood finish, and mine at the current moment is the Tormore 28. Yeah, I'm absolutely in love with it at the moment. I can't seem to get over it when I'm picking whiskey. If I'm looking at my shelf deciding what I want, I just seem to go to this one.
You'll never see this on camera, but like, see when you swirl it, the legs take forever to fall down. They just slowly trickle down the side of the glass.
You just probably see a cloudyish glass.
Cloudy gas?
Cloudy gas, aye. But I feel like I'm not sure how you are with like, but I feel like it's just quite. kind of agricultural almost, kind of dried hay, dried grass.
But yeah, if you mix that with a bit of sort of sweet candy or what's it called? You know, the butterscotch. No butterscotch. Toffee brittle.
Cinder toffee.
Yeah. No,
No,
that's puff candy sort of stuff. It's sort of
like Dame.
Yes.
Like Dame. I don't know what that'd be called. But I just love this.
Sort of boiled sweets.
Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. It might not be. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. These type of drams are a little bit more challenging, take a little bit more time to get into. But
I don't think that one does. And I don't know where you've been hiding it, because when you're away and I'm looking at the shelf for a whiskey, I'm always struggling to think, right, what can I help myself to? And I've never seen that one sitting there.
Yeah, Bill's just asking if it's 28 years and all in ex-bourbon, and I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think there's any sherry influence or any finishing. I'm sure it's just all ex-bourbon. So I mean, a lot of it, I mean, you are getting some of the kind of creaminess through, but you're getting a lot of this, hopefully a lot of Tormore through it as well. It's just delightful. It's just, I could sit and drink this.
Sort of candy, sugar candy fruit. What sort of money was this?
This was 180-ish. So it's quite a lot of
for it. Okay, but it's 28.
But it's 28-year-old. I'm pretty sure it's single cask. I could be wrong. I think Jason might know more. He might be able to tell me if it's single cask or not. But I mean, it's non-chill filtered, no added colour, and you get a funky label with it as well.
Yeah.
The Tormore stills that are cut out. We've seen them when we passed Speyside.
And you had the fruit fly in it as well.
So, and I had the fruit fly, so it adds to the flavour, the protein. But yeah, you picking up anything other than kind of the sweet, kind of brittle toffee?
No, I get what you're saying about the sort of light grass straw. But also for me on the nose, a bit of pencil shaving.
I think maybe I would say more in the finish, like a little bit of kind of like chipboard or something, or yeah, like just kind of chipboard. Well, I've always said like how I always imagine it. Maybe not chipboard, but you know how you say like obviously pencil shavings. I always think of like when I was in woodworking, you had the plane and you're playing in the wood. I know it's the shape.
Well, you wouldn't be playing in chipboard.
Well, no, you don't play in chipboard, but even that kind of like chipped up board, kind of that. Yeah, it's not like fruity or anything. It's a little sweet, but it's not.
There's a slight savoury note to it as well. There's
maybe something like a Tux biscuit. It's the 28-year-old Tormore, Jason.
Sorry, just going back to earlier on while we're enjoying this to ourselves. What drams are people having just now, and are they having it because it's their favourite or because that's what they chose to have? And if it's not their favourite or their current favourite, let's hear what some people would say about their current favourite.
Yeah, so yeah, I think some people have had some of their favourites. They might just be drinking kind of whatever, but it'd be interesting to hear what you've got in your glass if you're looking to see if there's any favourites. We've seen a few. Some people have got like kind of Glen cadam there.
Yeah, I remember those ones. But is anybody else drinking something? Or if they were to pour another dram right now, and we were to say, "Hey, make it
your favourite,
your sort of current favourite," because your favourites change all the time. What would it be? And let us know.
Yeah, like we use favourite quite loosely. It's your favourite at this kind of present time and present mood. But like I said, like the Tormore for me has just been one that I've been kind of going to. If I'm struggling thinking like, oh, I want a whiskey, but what do I want? I'll go for the Tormore. Highland Hamish is just saying, I don't know if the cameras just went there a bit. Ardnamurchan is close to top of my go-to list just now. Standard bottle as well as cask strength, very strong value for money.
Never tried it.
I think you had a hard marking at mine. You opened it blind and gave it to me, and I thought it was maybe something else. I'm sure you opened it. It was in that kind of like, it's almost like a recycled cardboard box. It's a bit, doesn't look like anything fancy. It's just a kind of thin cardboard box.
Okay.
I'm sure you opened it. It's a little bit peated, but
the other thing, just while we're waiting on people to answer, when we were talking about favourite whiskey, we were talking, okay, so favourite whiskey of the moment, so that's sort of now. And then we were saying sort of favourite whiskey that over whatever number of years you've been drinking whiskey, what is a typical whiskey that you find yourself going back to, and when you go back to it, you're never disappointed. And that can be, yeah, from a specific distillery, but it can also be, it doesn't have to be a distillery bottled. And then I was saying to Stuart as well, if you wanted to think about favourite distillery, and that could be for a number of reasons. And I'll give you an example. If I was to say just now, which a favourite distillery of mine is Ardbeg. Their whiskies wouldn't be in my top 5. I do have a good few Ardbegs and I do like it, but I have to be in the right frame of mind for a peated whiskey. But the reason why I would say Ardbeg is my favourite distillery, a couple of things. One is I like their quirkiness. I like the fact that they create this whole Ardbeg world, slightly hippie, slightly off the wall, sort of very much not corporate. I really like that.
I would argue that it's kind of corporate in a sense that because of how they market it, it's like, so for me it's almost over marketed. But that's just how I feel.
I don't think, who is it? The ones at the French. I don't think the French people come up with wacky ideas.
No, I know that, but the marketing team, it's kind of, I don't know. For me, it's a little bit, but yeah, I can understand why it'd be a.
And then when you actually go there, if you do get a chance to go there,
it's magical.
It's a magical spot. We've stayed there a couple of times, but I just, even now, the other day I got an email through, and it's just like nobody else comes out with a sort of promotional materials and creates this whole wee whiskey world, Ardbeg world, actually. Whether you buy the whiskey or not, you could almost subscribe to to this whole concept of material they produce. And
I can kind of see that.
So for that reason, if somebody said to me, "Hey, distillery," or Ardbeg, and it's not necessarily
for the whiskey.
I've chosen this for a different reason. It's a distillery that impresses me, and I just like the way they go about things.
So that'd probably be that's a good point. Like, what? So your first kind of point there would be like, what's your a kind of distillery almost that you'd go to that doesn't let you down type thing, like or a whiskey that you could go to and it would be a favourite. Like for example, Ardbeg 10 is usually quite consistent, whereas like we've said, maybe the Glendronach 15, the Glencadam 15, they've tried to mimic the same flavour as they had before, but they've not quite hit the mark. Tomatin Legacy for me, it's a constant belter of a whiskey. It's cheap. Well, not a belter, it's a decent whiskey, but it's constant. So you could maybe say that's in your rotation. That's like a favourite because it's a kind of constant flavour. The Blair Atholl 12, 4 and Fauna, possibly something like that. So is there something for yourselves that you've got like that is a favourite that's a constant go-to, and then a favourite distillery? I'll read out some of the comments and then we can kind of discuss what would be ours. But yeah, so Willie's saying he doesn't have a favourite individual, but he has a current project. 13-year-old Cadenhead's Glenburgie, one of a long line of great Glenburgie projects.
Yeah, okay.
So that's quite interesting because when we first started, Stevie was saying how he kind of goes through phases. And I think I've done it for a little bit, but not as drastically as how you go about it. And also, this isn't anything like...
It's commitment, mate.
It's commitment.
It's commitment.
So you had a kind of Ardbeg phase. You bought a lot of Ardbeg bottles. You got an Ardbeg shelf there. We could maybe show it if I can get up and bothered. Then it's like you've got obviously the Bladnoch. You built a collection of Bladnoch to try all those different ones. The same with Tomatin. You've done kind of the same with Tomatin. A little bit with Glenfiddich. A little bit with Glen Cadam. Fetter Cairn, Highland Park, and then Douglas Lane as well. I think I've done similar with Carnmore. I bought like an ounce of Carnmore. The single cask, I bought quite a bit of single cask. I wanted to try the different independent bottles. So it is quite interesting you say that, Willie, because I suppose we kind of have projects like that where these have been like official bottlings in a sense, and also independent bottles. But would I describe the single cask one for me? I wouldn't describe them as a favourite, but I would say it was a good. Like,
you had a good few of those, and
I think the reason saying not favourite is because they're quite pricey. But I don't know. It just depends. It just depends, really.
I think what happens for me, and I separate Ardbeg out because that was because of a different experience. But if you take Bladnoch, for example, I don't know how many bottles I've got there, but 10 or something like that. Right? If I find one that I really take a liking to, then it intrigues me to try the other different variations that come from the distillery. And sometimes what happens, for me anyway, you start doing that and you get to the second or the third one, you go, oh no, actually, the first one was it. But Bladnoch's a good example where each one I've tried has encouraged me to try
another one,
another, and another, and another. And I don't know, out of all my collection, there's only a few whiskies where that's actually happened, where it's encouraged me to go on. Sometimes you go. Well, for example, Aaron is another one where I tried and I thought, oh, nice, go next one. And I had 2 or 3, and I had a wee bit of collection there, but then I was a bit disappointed, or I thought, no, I'm not going to pursue it anymore. So it kind of happens like that, and it doesn't happen like that with everyone. Highland Park was another one you mentioned.
Yeah.
But then I found with Highland Park, I did get to a couple where I thought, I'm starting to get a bit disappointed, so I stopped. So the ones I've got are not the most recent ones because I stopped it.
Yeah.
And it's the same Tomatin. I got some there to try and like sort of move in and discover, because I've had a couple of good Tomatins, so I wanted to explore that a bit more. So that's how it happens for me.
Yeah.
So
almost grows arms and legs in a sense.
Yeah, but it has to impress me to start with. I don't just go, well, I'm going to buy.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. So Bill's just saying Ardbeg is a reflection of Bill Lumsden, who is like the nutty professor of whiskey. Yeah, I can agree with that. He's a bit nutty.
I just think it's very unique.
And someone saying hello.
Hello.
LR Burst. Highland Hamish Ardbeg. I'm waiting for the 4 letters C. Word ends in T. Second letter is U. So Highland Hamish doesn't seem to be a fan of Ardbeg.
All right.
Bill Monteith, how many more names can we come up with that rhyme with Ard? I vote for Ardass, which could be hard ass or lard ass.
Ardon.
Ardon. Yeah.
See what you've started.
I know. Whiskey, so Whiskey Straight Al, Big Al's, and he's saying my current favourite is an SMWS 8-year-old from Glen Cadam, 62.9%. So that seems like we've got a little bit of a theme going on at the moment. As Glen Cadam seems to be quite a bit of a hitter, kind of favourite.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing differently, but they're certainly. Well, it's like, I mean, a few years back, Thumb and Tool was quite sort of lesser known. I remember, what's his name? I remember speaking to Robert Fleming a few times at the Whisky Fringe at Edinburgh, probably going back 10, 15 years ago, and trying a couple of like Tom and Toes. I used to say, I don't understand this. I said, you're not that well known.
Mm.
They're the 16-year-old at the time for stupid money. I can't remember what it was, but it was cheap, and it was absolutely terrific stuff. And at the time, for that age statement stuff like that, there were other distilleries putting that out much more, but their marketing was better. And I remember saying to them that this needs to be known a lot more. And I think I would say Glen is in the same vein. Don't keep it overshadowed with Tom and Tool, or give it any less.
See, I feel like Glen Cadam's now the one that's shining brighter. It's overtaking Tom and Tool for me. Tom and Tool's taking that back seat where it's like they've kind of chill filtered, their ABV's a little less, whereas Glen Cadam seems to be pioneered towards the drinker rather than, I don't know. Sorry, there's a couple of comments.
Yeah.
So Bill saying he's loving a Balmanac from SMWS. So I've not really had much success with SMWS recently. I've had a few Balmanacs that have been alright, but
two fun. Well, one I remember really well from a few years back from SMWS was a one called, the description was Monster Mango Mayhem.
Yeah, I remember that. That kind of sparked something in me with whiskey.
And
it
turns out it was a Bladnoch. And I bought one, and John Blythe, he bought the last two when we were there. And it was just like a mango creamy dessert in a glass. It was just
definitely.
It was just absolutely stunning. So, and I guess this is where like places like SMSW and other independent bottlers come to the fore. You find something that takes you to a distillery that you would
not normally
maybe
go
for before.
Aye, that was funny. Like, I remember when you had that, and I remember that was kind of one of those whiskies that when I was around here, it was one that I wanted like all the time.
John Blythe has still got a bottle.
He's still got another bottle.
I keep hinting to try and buy it off him, but he's not taking the hint yet.
So Willie's saying 30 years ago it was all about peat, taste come and go, still finding romance and adventure in the lesser space sides. Yeah. Al, Stuart, as you know, my favourite distillery is Edredauer. So Edredauer's obviously quite a small distillery, not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's got a lot of fans. I don't know how, I suppose there's a decent bunch of fans.
They're good enough to produce the whiskey for, is it House of Lords?
House of Lords, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But he's saying most of my go-to drams are Irish because they're more readily available. He's in Ireland, obviously. Which makes sense. Jason Whiskey Rover saying Shackleton 18's a no-brainer. It's a blend. I'm pretty sure you can get it in Tesco.
Is that the one where they tried to recreate the whiskey that was on the expedition to the North Pole or South Pole?
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from. Yeah. But supposedly that is good. Another absolute favourite is from Mark is the Glen Cadams single cask from Inverurie Whisky Shop. God bless Gibby for the sample, changed my life. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Gibby sent the Glengoyne, I think it was a port. It was like a pour-your-own port, but it was extortionate. It was like 180.
Glencairn or Glengoyne?
Glengoyne. And it was beautiful as well. But yeah, the cult of Ardbeg is what he was meaning. So when he was saying see you.
Okay. I thought it was just somebody that didn't like Ardbeg.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
Now.
So now I don't have to be frightened to just show you the wee
quality. I don't know if the camera quality stayed the same.
So can you see it? Or?
No, it's kind of frozen. Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if it's something to do with we're on Stevie's Wi-Fi, and Stevie's Wi-Fi isn't the best. So let me just.
Nah, but you're here for the whiskey, not the Wi-Fi.
No, we are here for the whiskey, not the Wi-Fi. So let's see. Now that you've moved that, that's better. Tom and Tool puts a.
Sorry, my manager will get on to you about that because you're actually bigger in the picture than me.
That's just my size.
Okay.
Tom and Tool puts out a 21-year-old at 40%, and they have a cigar malt. They're basically Coldplay. Yeah, I can see why they're not doing too well. yeah, cigar malts don't often go down well. People don't.
I quite liked. I bought the cigar malt for my dad. I like that.
Mm.
I mean, I do have a soft spot for Tom and Tool. Yeah, just sometimes you think, hey, do more.
Andrew Butler, the cheap Shackleton is very different from the recreation of the whiskey from the Ice, the Discovery. So it's a different whiskey, but supposedly, yeah, the Shackleton's good, and yeah, the Wi-Fi is slow, and we're kind of disconnecting a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, we're still here. Hopefully, you can still hear us. If you can, please let us know. And if you can't, then this is a little bit awkward. But yeah, hopefully it'll be fine. Will we?
You can change to come off for Wi-Fi, or yeah, they probably went on the TV next door. I'll be worried.
I don't know. Can everybody still hear us and see us? And is it still? Yeah, sounds all good, Stuart. Yes, that's good. We've got James Everett in, and he's saying sound is all good. So
okay.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
James, sorry, Mark says we're here for the whiskey, not the Wi-Fi. Get that on a t-shirt. Yeah, we probably should. Yeah. Right. So do you want to get the beer, or will we get them? Oh, but they can't do it. They're virtually not here. Do you want to get the beer? Will I get the beer? Do you want to talk about Dalmore? Or have I just ruined what your next whiskey is going to be?
Well, apart from just ruining it, so now you're getting the beer.
I'll get the beer then. Right. So I will grab it and I'll be back, and hopefully nothing too scary happens whilst I'm away. Yeah, keep your eyes on them.
I'll keep talking. So yeah, for the other favourite, I'd said to Stuart, because picking out a favourite is quite a difficult thing. And in fact, somebody said to me once when they had a good answer when somebody asked them, "What's your favourite whiskey?" and the answer was whatever you're drinking right now, or whatever I'm drinking right now. So your favourite does change. So then I started to think about. I went back over the years to think about sort of a particular whiskey where it's consistently featured, either in my experience and also think about my dad's experience, my uncle's experience. There's a couple of whiskies that have constantly came up over the years. Mortlach being one of them. Starting from the old 16-year-old bottling before we started doing the square rectangular shape bottles. Mortlach was always a staple. And I've got a couple, and I try some independent bottlings. And the other one, just while I'm waiting for Stuart, was actually Dalmore. Dalmore down throughout the ages for me. When somebody gives me a Dalmore, I just always enjoy it. Now maybe it just appeals to me because it's got that slightly sweeter edge to it. I always think it's full of flavour. And I've recently been trying a few sort of independent Dalmores to just try and see what happens to Dalmore when it's not being processed by Dalmore. So my through the ages, one of my through the ages favourites is Dalmore. And what I thought I'd use tonight is an independent bottling. It's from the Rare Find bottlings. There's not much left in this. It's an 11-year-old, and it's at 50% ABV. Now, the unique, let's check my nose off. The unique thing about this, and you won't see it on camera, but the unique thing about this Dalmore is, if the light was good, it's a sort of greyish brown, almost like dirty water. It really is. So that's an Oloroso octave finish. It was distilled in 2007 and bottled in 2018. at cast strength by rare finds, Glen Distillery Company.
See if I can get.
Spirits Company.
See if we can get a. I don't know if you can. I mean, it kind of looks chocolatey, almost like Dalmore does, but it's not. It's like
Yeah,
a
but
dirty.
it's The difference is it's for anybody that's had Dalmore. Dalmore's a very viscose, semi-thick, clings to the side of the glass. Yeah, you're supposed to be washing the dishes, man. You got to clean my husband. Is it? Whereas this stuff is thin.
Anyone?
You only get one.
I'll do.
Yeah. And again, see when you see it in the glass, I've never seen a whiskey that looks like that in the glass. It's grey brown. But yeah, anyway, back to so I was trying to, in fact, I think it was my son that got it, trying to find sort of independent Dalmores. So I was interested to see whether did I like Dalmore because of the process and what it was they produced it, however they produced it, blah blah blah. So I went for a Dalmore tonight, but I went for an independent bottling. Now, this particular Dalmore.
So can I just say, for disclaimer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest Dalmore fan. As official bottlings go, I think I bought the King Alexander after you bought it.
No, I've never bought the King. The King Alexander is the only Dalmore I've had, and I had it because my uncle had it, my dad had it. That was my least favourite of Dalmore.
Well, I got the King Alexander, didn't really enjoy it. You had a 1980 Dalmore that I thought was fantastic. It was old, but other than that, I think the normal range is quite lacking. The kind of core range is quite lacking. But I've had two examples of independent bottled Dalmores from you now.
Yeah.
One of them's this rare find, and when I first saw this, I thought there's definitely a reason that Dalmore add colouring to their whiskey, and it's this reason because the whiskey's like dirty water.
No, not necessarily, because look at the colour of that compared to the Chieftain bottle.
No, I know, but this is what I'm getting at. This
is how they've chose to present it.
Yeah, but this is why I thought that maybe they'd add colouring because they'd be like this. But this does not look appetizing in the bottle. When we first saw this, it looked like old tap water or used dishwater, but it's far from it. So Stevie's got this Dalmore, this 11-year-old rare find, and
this is cappuccino espresso coffee in a glass, without the viscosity that you get with a Dalmore. I mean, the legs are still running long, but it's definitely a much thinner liquid.
Yeah, so
but it's coffee all over the place. If you like your coffee, man, this is superb stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with cappuccino on the nose. It's fun. It's like, yeah, a little bit of kind of chocolate from the sprinkle there.
In fact, I would go so far to say, how much is probably left in that bottle?
I don't know. Probably
If there's anybody out there who's really interested in trying a different Dalmore, who's never went for an independent Dalmore, then give us a shout, and I'll get Stuart to send a couple of samples out to finish the bottle. But at least like Dalmore to begin with. This is awesome.
And it's 50.4%, but
yeah, no way.
It doesn't drink like that.
No.
There's a little. Yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to stick with the coffee. There's like an espresso martini. I'm almost getting a little bit of vodka, like a little spirity. Nothing like offensive or anything, but nice. Like a nice, kind of expensive vodka, like a nice espresso martini.
Yeah.
Proper good espresso martini.
No, because there's even a wee bit of the sort of creamy foaminess.
They're milky, a little bit milky. Super. It's very coffee driven. Cappuccino in the nose, espresso martini in the palate, and That's like chocolate raisins or something in the finish. I don't know. There's something weird in the finish, a little bit tangy. I don't know. Not weird as in bad, negative, but weird as in good. Multi Haggis Muncher, Matt, he's in. Good to see you, Matt. Hope your work's going well. I'm pretty sure you're out at work. But yeah, we're currently on Stevie's second favourite. His first favourite was.
Well, it's not my second favourite. It's my favourite.
Sorry.
If I think about a whiskey down throughout the years that I've never been disappointed in trying.
Right.
Is kind of what I would class that as. But this is taking a sidestep because I went for an independent bottler of it.
So this is a Dalmore 11-year-old. It seems like the Wi-Fi is kind of going a little bit now and then. I'm not sure. But it's 50.4% ABV, 11-year-old. And his current favourite, which he enjoys drinking, is a Glen cadams 17-year-old, and that's a port finish at 46% ABV. My current favourite that we've consumed and enjoyed is the Tormore 28-year-old from Thompson Bros.
Was that on your shelves?
Yes, we have had it before. 47.3% ABV. So yeah, we've got beer, we've got water.
We've got water, really?
Well, I've got water. And we've got whiskey. So what we want to find out is if anybody has a favourite. It's kind of hard to word. Not a favourite distillery in a sense, but it might just be like a favourite.
A whiskey from a specific distillery, where over the years where you've been interested in whiskey, it's been a fairly consistent, always, whenever you've tried it, whenever you went back to it, it's been, you would say, that's one that sticks.
Yeah, he's just asking if it's from the Glenmore or Glenmore, I don't know how you say
it.
It is.
Yeah. Has anybody else actually tried any stuff from this bottler? Because I've also got, what's that Bunnahabhain I've got there?
22-year-old Bunnahabhain.
Yeah, I've got a 22-year-old Bunnahabhain also that I've not opened from them. I was so impressed by this, I thought I would try another one, but I've never opened it yet.
Yeah, so our first topic was, or kind of discussion was like a favourite whiskey from your selection that you can just look at and go to, and maybe if you're struggling to pick out a whiskey, you see that and that's the one you go for. Our next item topic is maybe a whiskey that you from a distillery, a certain distillery that you can always rely on. For me, I'm going to have to go for two easy ones that the whole whiskey community always go for, and I'm going to go for them because I agree with it, and it's Tomatin Legacy. I think.
No, that's very specific. We're talking about a whiskies. Don't focus on one. Go for it's either Tomatin whiskey.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So do you mean more like a distillery then?
Yes.
That
was a distillery who consistently produces good stuff where whatever you try, you go, yeah, like it.
Yeah, so ignore me then.
They were anyway,
yeah.
Probably.
The topic is basically your favourite distillery. The distillery that doesn't let you down. Distillery that you can go to, that you haven't really found lacking, that you've always found that produce quite good quality.
By the way, we did discuss this and do all the research and stuff like that over the 5 minutes we spent earlier on today.
So I've missed some comments. Here's some comments here. So hi on Hamish's. I've only had the Dalmore cigar malt. Happy to swap a sample for a couple of Ardmore cash strengths if it helps you tidy up the bottle. No, we can. We'll get a sample together and we can send you it. We don't need we're all right for the return unless you want to try some Ardmore. I've got some Ardmore cash strength.
I don't know. It wasn't to encourage getting other whiskies. I mean, this is fantastic stuff, and I'll be sorry to see it go. But one of the reasons I enjoy whiskey is that it's not just for you. It's for
moments like this,
and sharing with other people. So if there's somebody out there who's really quite keen to try a Dalmore that's different to the normal stuff you try, then I'm quite happy to send the last of the bottle. There'll be tears, but life's tough. I'll get over
it. Jason's saying, I'm surprised they have Wi-Fi in Falkirk. Can you take a stab at where he gets where he's from?
You,
Huge.
Is he from the EH postcode area?
No, he's from a adversary of the Falkirk district.
Oh, he'd be for the Fife from Fairmont.
I don't know if he has done Fairmont. He might be, but he is Fife. He's definitely a Fifer, a horrible Fifer.
Jesus Christ, they Wi-Fi, they're still on the tin cans, but it's fine for goodness sake.
James is saying, Stuart and Stevie, have you tried the Balcones Rye? It has those notes plus wheat corn funk, or white corn funk, he means.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, is that politically correct? I've not had Balcones Rye. I'm not really. In fact, we have that Stonin Rye, and it was gingerbready. That was really nice. But I've not had Balcones Rye, not that I know, or Balcones. I'm not how you say it.
I think I've got a Dutch rye whiskey somewhere.
Yeah, but no, we've not had it, unfortunately.
No, we've not.
It'd have been good to talk about it. Mark's saying we have a 27-year-old of this Clinleash from this bottler for our trade group.
Oh, I nearly bought that. That was selected specifically for some
like Drinkmonger, Royal Mail Whiskies.
Yeah, because they're only I think they're mainly available through Royal Mail Whiskies, but that was produced for a celebration for somebody, and was meant to be cracking. If I remember rightly, it didn't say Clinleash on the bottle.
No, I didn't. I think it said Highland. Definitely said Highland.
I nearly bought that and I regret not buying it because it was meant to be a cracker.
Matt's saying, well said, Stevie. I can't remember what. Oh, it was about sharing the whiskey and what whiskey's about, I think. Yes. Bill saying Kilcoman has quietly become the #1 distillery in my collection.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I think Stevie and I have agreement with this. I'll say my part first. I might be wrong, but I feel like we're in agreement.
Right, you piss them off first.
Right, so I'll start. So when we were over in Islay, we were staying in Ardbeg. It was magical. Everything was lovely. Went to Bowmore. Went to I don't think we had Boona. We went to Bruichladdich, Lagavulin, Lefroy, and then Kilcoman. And we had a few from Kilcoman, and they didn't really sit well with me. I understand how it's produced. It's all kind of done in house. It's very, very much in line with the likes of Springbank and Daft Mill in that sense. But I didn't enjoy it. I think I had one or two that I can recall, Mackie or Bay or something like that I've maybe enjoyed. But it's one that I don't have one in my collection. But I have had a few that have been okay, but it's not one that I don't think I've enjoyed much Kilcoman. Yeah. And that might just be me being a little bit prejudiced to it because of that experience of when we went and we...
Well, I actually agree with what you're saying. For me also, there's just something that I haven't been able to quite take to when it comes to Kilcoman. In fact, when we were at the Fife Whisky Festival, I specifically went to their stand last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was explaining this to the person that was there in a sort of nice face. I'm like, I've still not found one where I go, and she let me try 3 or 4, and yeah, I just
can't get it.
I just can't get it. But then again, I can't get into your Springbanks and your Longrows and stuff like that either. So for me, there's just a block that I just, and I read some fantastic stuff about it, but it just doesn't translate to my flavour profile.
Sorry, I just had the last sip of that, and it's just, very nice.
But you didn't have the last sip of it.
No, the last sip of what was in the glass.
Who are we sending the last sip to?
Hamish is going to take some stuff to Hamish.
Right. So you're taking that round the road with you.
Right, that's fine. We'll get that in a minute. So Brandon popped in to say something. I don't know if he's still here. Brandon is Stevie's son.
Right.
He said, "Oh, are you now?" So that might have been about something you were talking about earlier. Jason said...
Well, I think he probably bought me to...
He did, Yeah. Jason said sharing is best. He also says Kilcoman doing good things now. So although you revisit them in Fife, I haven't revisited them and might need to revisit them. But from when did we go to Ardbeg? 5 years ago, 4 years ago?
That's why I made the point and look at it. Fife, but I think there's always going to be whiskies like that for you, for your own taste profile, or whatever. And for me, it's also, I don't get what the big buzz is about, like the Springbanks and Longrows. I'd love to be able to say, yeah, I get it, but I don't.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's not to say it's no good whiskey.
No.
It's just, for some reason, I can't taste it. And that's a personal thing.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I could drink like things like, that's the thing as well. Like, I could drink Dalmore happily or Helen Park happily, but it's more just the way, and even Ardbeg, for argument's sake, but it's just a way they go about things now that I don't really agree with, and I don't know. But I could still drink it. I wouldn't say it's like horrible whiskey. It's just whiskey I wouldn't want to waste money on.
You tend to drink it if it's mine.
Yeah, I would drink anything.
Anything
if it's free.
You let your morals slip by the wayside if it's mine.
Yeah, if someone gives me free whiskey, I'll drink it. Andrew is saying, I've got 3 Royal Mile Whiskey 20-year-old celebration bottles from Rare Fine. Have you tried any yet? Have you opened them up yet? Bill Monteith is saying, don't worry, I won't take it personally with the Kilcoman. You're wrong, I'm right. That's the way I'll. Jason saying, picked up the Distillery exclusive last week, heavily peated with a very short port finish.
Which one? The Kilcoman?
Probably, yeah. But just a tad expensive. I get why, but still hurts the wallet. Unfortunately, I don't know what we're calling to there. Yeah, Ryan saying Loch Gorm was sound. Yeah, I feel like I had Loch Gorm and it was all right, and then I think maybe Mackay Bay I felt was all right. We'll get through a few more.
Just a wee second, just before we move off. I don't know if you see that on there.
Yeah.
The only thing I've got in my collection are these 2
sprigs of barley.
Sprigs of barley. Right. So the malted barley in the glass came from Ardbeg. These 2 sprigs came from the cafe at Kilcoman.
Yeah.
So that's the only 2 things I've got.
We asked for
in my collection from Kilcoman. I'm sorry to say.
So Andrew's saying, if you have another measure of the Dalmore after Hamish, I'd like to try it. Yeah, I think we've got at least a couple samples in there, so we'll see. So we'll need to get Andrew and Hamish.
The aftertaste now is
it's quite good, yeah.
Coffee, and it's dark chocolate. It's
yeah,
very light and
I kind of wish I had more of it off you, because I think I've not had much of it.
I think you have.
No, I think I've had more of this Dalmore. I think you've battered through that on your own pretty well. Jason, whiskey is like football. Distilleries have form. Yeah, I agree with that. Go through good patches, bad patches. But see if you can get a recent 100% Isla Dram from Kilcoman when you're in a bar stew. See how their current profile is. It's getting some depth in it. Ryan, who I met up with the other day, it was good to meet up with Ryan in Edinburgh. Thanks for the samples and the cigars that you gave last time. He says, agree, Kilcoman's underwhelming. Mackay Bay is solid, but not really impressed with the rest of their stuff. So he maybe has a similar kind of palate to myself, but he's kind of agreeing in that sense.
But it's one of these. I want to like it.
Yeah.
Because I quite like how they've grew up and where they've come from and what they're trying to do. I really do. But it's just not fun.
Yeah. Bart says, thought we were about to witness some Celtic ritual. Now, what were we doing? I'm maybe too slow with these. You'll need to describe what were we about to do. Oh, was it when Stevie grabbed the barley? Some Celtic dancing.
Oh, right. No. The rituals come later when we start to give it the old staggy do.
Right. Andrew saying, with the Royal Mile Whiskey ones, I like the Quinleash Breath, Glen Elgin second, and the Balmain third. But all are good. I bought the Balmain, so thanks for that. Whiskey Bond's got a Springer 10 in the glass, Springbank 10. I'm rather jealous of that because I do like Springbank 10.
No jealous in the slightest.
Bill Stewart, you got me started on Blair Athol Indies, chasing them. Yeah.
You've got loads of indie.
I do. If you want any samples, just hit me up, but don't chase anything too drastically. Blair Athol's good, but there's a few that I've been disappointed by, but there's a lot of good Blair Athol out there, predominantly.
Try to say we're buying you shine.
No, I'm just saying there's some that aren't, but predominantly it's better independent bottled. It seems like they have a lot of chance. No, I'm going to leave that for when we go up there.
Oh, okay.
Bart's got a Glen 9 cast strength from Elixir
Yeah.
in his glass, plus a
Right.
Guinness.
Plus a Guinness.
Pretty jealous of the Guinness.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got.
Well, I'm pretty jealous that we're on a whiskey chat and I've not got any whiskey in my glass.
We'll get to the next whiskey. I'm going through the comments first before we drain ourselves, because the next one's Pete. Kilcoman drinks better with age, in Willie's opinion.
Well, I'm quite old, so I disagree.
James says he's got Springbank 10 year at Robbie Drams if anyone's looking for the 22 release. See. All right, Robbie's Drams if you need that Springbank 10. So, yeah, let's get down to. While we go for this, it's a hitter. It's a heavy one. It's a heavy hitter. The Queen glasses up there. So, I've went for another. I didn't go for kind of distillery favourite or anything, because that would have probably been like Springbank or Daft Mill. And you're not the biggest fan of Springbank.
You went for something you just want to get rid of, haven't you?
No, I've definitely not.
I bring the goods to the table and you just bring.
I bought a 28-year-old Tormore.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
So, what I've got is, I've been off peat for a while, but there's always one thing that brings me back to peat. And it's young. It's very young. It's a 6-year-old and it's very hefty.
I can't believe you did this to me, by the way.
This isn't that one. This is a different
No,
bottle.
but it's the same stuff, isn't it?
It's similar, yeah.
I had a bad experience with it.
We were up at Blair Athol, just Stevie and I together, having a romantic trip. And we were on a tasting with the Kinnaird Head Whiskies guys, Matt and Gary. It was a Canmore tasting.
It was about this time last year. It was
a
cracking summer's night. We were, yep.
And I bought a bottle of Stosha in Drinkmonger for £35 or something, 46% ABV, quite young, possibly 8 or 7-year-old. And I opened it there, and then we only opened it that night, and
that's where it was all fucked
up. That's when it went to shit. Stevie just kept saying, top up my glass. I only had a few out of it, but you just kept handing me your glass. I kept topping it up, and Stevie predominantly went through half of the bottle in that night. I mean, I helped, but not as much. You had a lot. So
now, just to put it into context, let me set the scene for you. We were in a wee log pod thing. We were sitting outside. It was a summer's night. Moon was up there, nice and quiet, just lovely ambience. And time was passing, and it was very nice. Listen, just top me up a wee drop there, Stuart. But it went to hell.
It went to hell. You were thirsty.
I've never had a hangover like that, and I don't know how many.
That was a lot of whiskey.
Decades.
It's drinkable. That's why. It's surprisingly drinkable.
Yeah,
and that's why it's good.
Really? You're going to give me another one?
Max de Silva's in. He's saying, evening all. Thompson Bros SRV5. That's the second one we've had blend, and their new sherry blend on the go at the moment. So that's both Thompson Bros. We had a Thompson Bros as well as my favourite earlier, the 28 Tormore.
Yep.
So I'm really trying to get to this whiskey. There's some comments coming in. Max again, the Clean Leash Rare find from last year was really good. So everybody seems to be enjoying that.
If anybody wants to send me a bottle, not a bottle, but sample.
Yeah. So I'll be getting 100 ml of it at some point, so we can. 100 ml is a lot.
I nearly bought it last year in
Al from Ireland, who was speaking earlier, is using a Chauffeur Hofer grapefruit beer as a palate cleanser. Yeah, we kind of ale or beer lager just kind of cleanses the palate a little. I do like a beer with my whiskey. I don't always just like. I think drinking whiskey one after another is good, but I do like something just to fill the space, a little bit of beer. And Mark's saying Stosha is a whiskey he's been stashing away when he can get it.
Really?
So it seems to be. So it's been a having.
Because that's what I was going to ask you is, where did it originate from?
Yeah, so it is Bunnahabhain, if I'm correct. I'm almost 100% certain it is. Bunnahabhain, this is an Isla. This is from AD Rattray. This wasn't that much, maybe £50, maybe less. It's 6-year-old, 59.1% ABV, only 155 bottles and only bourbon.
Very watery looking.
It is very light coloured.
I'll tell you what it's no. It's no in my glass yet.
It will be in your glass, right? So we'll get the point.
I'm really not looking forward to this.
You can put some water in it, maybe, but we're going to have to go for Pete after this. So Ryan's just poured a 21-year-old Blair Athol XOP.
Oh,
That
nice.
might be the one I gave him a sample of that. Do you want just a little bit?
No, aye, that's fine.
So we'll go for a little bit in case we want something
better.
This is great stuff.
So this is your. So hang on, this category.
This is my go-to.
This category was supposed to be a whiskey that over the years, and obviously you're younger than me, but over the years has never failed to impress you. And you've went for
Stosha.
Stosha.
Well, to be fair,
which has only been on the market for.
It's been on the market for
2 years.
No, but from the time the Stoshas came out, I've enjoyed most of the bottles that have been coming out. It's been a definite delight to find this stuff. It's easy to drink, even though it's 59. You might need some water. You can have some water, but I find it's really easy
But it's
to drink.
not really. It's still at kindergarten, is it? Oh, it's still at nursery. It's not really done.
But what I done when I was choosing my whiskies, I was just choosing like what I'm going for, rather than I didn't really think it that through. I was just thinking like, what am I looking at, and what do I like? I want that type thing.
Right.
For favourite. So Louise's. Yeah, sorry. Mark first. You still got some of that. Be around in a minute. I'll bring my own glass. So this is for this. Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got my beer.
Yeah, come on. You can have as much as you want. You have a pint glass if you like.
Yeah, I've probably got maybe just over a quarter left of it. Louise has just said something that might be funny.
It's the devil's whiskey, is what it is.
Dad, not really sure you should be having that whiskey.
No, me neither, by the way. But I have to respect the fact that Stuart chose it.
Yeah.
And I have to try it.
James says you'll rehydrate later, so you'll be fine. So yeah, whiskey down this. Nose.
Okay.
Ashtray. Smoky.
Well, I wouldn't say it as crudely as ashtray, but it's definitely smoky. It's smoky with a smoky creamy.
Yeah, so Louise is saying, oh aye, so easy to drink that Dad drunk half a bottle last time. Yeah. So you did find it easy to drink?
Yeah, I did. But I'll tell you what, I've never had a headache like it. Now, I woke up with that headache, just to amuse people. We're in Blair Athol caravan site. It was dark o'clock outside. Or no, it was the sun was starting to get light. And I was wandering about outside, nobody about. I went into one of the toilet blocks, and I just sort of stood with my head against like the wall. And at one point, I had the hand dryer thing trying to get heat to my head to relieve the head. And that went on for a wee while, and then like, it must have got to the point where people were standing up and somebody came in, so I went to another toilet block. And I just had the hairdryer blower thing on my head to try and like, relieve it. And then you remember driving home. I can't remember in all the years
having a bad hangover.
Feeling like that.
Sorry, I just want to clear something up. Sorry, Willie, it's Stosha. I don't know how you pronounce it. You're Gaelic and that's better than mine. It's the heavily peated from Bunnahabhain. But yeah, then you had to drive home that day as well from Pitlochry, Blair Athol.
Well, I remember I had to stop. It was dry heaving.
We were dry heaving.
We
pulled over at Perth and Stevie was just
yeah, just yeah.
So how is this bringing back memories? Do you want some water? I've added a little bit of water.
To me, well, see, maybe this is where I went wrong that night as well. Like to me, this doesn't need water. This is very, very light.
So creamy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
although the peat's there, and you can tell that's a hard peat.
If you could have smoky ice cream,
that
would be it.
I've tried to describe this before, like a peaty cream.
Yeah.
Like how. I wonder if they do that on like on an Isla ice cream parlour or whatever. If they have like peated ice cream, someone will need to come up with that idea. That might be a market.
No, do you know what I had in Toronto last week? In the wee you got the Whiskey Castle there, and there's a wee delicatessen next door to it. Sharon was getting ice cream, and she came back to the van carrying 2 ice creams. I'm like, why did she get me one? And it was Royal Loch Nagar ice cream. But actually, it was so subtle. You could definitely tell
Aye.
that there was whiskey, but it was so subtle. It was really
Suppose
quite
it's
nice.
kinda
So
like rum and
just when you
raisins,
said
aye.
somebody should come up with an idea. Well, they did.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I've always tried to like peated butter or peated cream, or like it's just a creamy,
Yeah, it's
creamy peat,
smoky ice cream.
smoky ice cream. It's just fantastic. It was quite cheap as well. I think it might have been less than £50. Mark might be able to tell me the price because I can't remember the price, but I'm terrible with things like that. But
So
it's
you
just,
made me ill on really cheap whiskey. That's probably what it was.
yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't the amount you drunk.
Well, we had the tastings that night. What were we? Can you remember? We were tasting the.
Oh,
It was Canmore stuff.
Canmore, yeah, but there was loads of different. There were some fantastic ones at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to remember like a buttery toasted one, but
I think that was one of them.
oh yeah, we both bought one off the back of it, but I can't remember. Yeah, Glen. Yeah, this is. Yeah, so Ryan said he's had Ardbeg dark chocolate milkshake in Seattle, and he says it was awesome.
Wow.
That sounds. Aye.
But see, like, yeah, but it's like smoky dark chocolate. If you think about it, the
like chili and chocolate.
but the two sort of taste profiles, the sort of bittery, they're not a million miles away from each other.
So Willie's saying his best dram of 2020 was a peated cast strength Boona, single dram on a snowy day in Edinburgh Queen Street. That's quite a specific and very nice memory to have.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's brilliant. I hope you were surrounded by friends and that. That would have been a good time to have that. James Ben Rayak's Magnum is very nice on a pie. You don't need to explain further.
Yeah, is that?
Have you created that on your own? Is that an actual thing? Bart Damon, did you just down that?
I just wanted to get through it.
Oh my god. Bart, you never had smoked butter or chocolate ice cream with a splash of Ardbeg. So maybe that's the next thing we need to try. Max, now I'm going to pour myself a dram of the Thompson Bros Woodwinter exclusive Ben Vinnis 12-year-old. So Thompson Bros has came up a couple of times tonight. And last from Mark, whilst I enjoy the rest of my dram, it was £45, and Matt pointed it out, and we all kind of like jumped on it because we heard how good it was. Max is also saying, "Did you pick up a Cadenhead Scotia 7-year-old?" No, I didn't, unfortunately. But this, what did you think of this? Do you?
I don't encourage it.
No, I don't
No, well, I
encourage it.
think no. Honestly, it's a very unoffensive peated dram. It's, and I don't know whether it's because it's got like just that the smokiness and the creaminess, and again the viscosity. It's no like filling your mouth. So yeah, I mean, I found I didn't not like it. I just obviously I've got a bit of a psychological.
Yeah, maybe I should have thought about that. But the way I see this one is like I've been off peak for a while, but this and the only other one that I could probably link to, like Stosha, that one that we had, and this one, and the only other ones that I can possibly link to would be like the Kilkerran heavily peated batch 1. It makes me want to go back into peat because of that creaminess, that butteriness. But
I mean, what's nuts about it is how old is it?
6-year-old.
Yeah, I mean that you would expect to be as rough as a badger's ass, whatever a badger's ass is. But it's not, and I think that's what happened that night when we had it. It was like it wasn't rough. It was pleasant to drink, and you just didn't realise just
how easy it was going down.
I just got lost in the moment. Just like
so, the two of us on a romantic wooden pod, just two beds, and just how.
Well, there was nothing romantic about it.
Oh well, what I was going to say is just how easy.
Worst night of my life.
I was going to say how easy things were going down.
Yeah.
Just how easy it's. How easy it just slid right down.
Well, I went down easier.
Yeah, that was a good night. I enjoyed it. The first night, your snoring kind of done me. I had to sleep with the headphones in. But the second night, because of this and that.
Well, the second night, because of this and that, I was
you were
away.
You were away heating your head.
Wandering about like a zombie.
Imagine someone seeing you. Just wandering about the campsite. Absolutely.
I was never so more pleased that when I went into the toilet block, it was nice and warm, and I had the hairdryer on my head, and that bit of that, and it was just like all bliss. And then obviously
People started waking up.
Some campers started to wake up at 6 o'clock and whatever. It's like, right, okay, I'll wander to the next one. Maybe there'll not be anybody in there. It's a nightmare.
Because when I'm hungover, like, I can spew. This is what confused me when we pulled over in Perth, and you got out of the car was still, I had my seatbelt still on, and it's just like nothing was coming out.
I actually can't. I genuinely can't remember. I mean, the last 30 years, the last time I was ever sick with alcohol, I really can't.
Well, to be fair, he didn't throw up then. So, Mark's saying, yes, Stevie's going that way too, with getting the whiskey down. Mark's saying he's going to tell Ralphie that Stevie threw that back like cowboy. Yeah.
I might feel a bit Ralphie later.
James is saying cream liqueur with a little Ben Rayak, very nice sip. Maybe need to try some of that. Kind of Bailey's.
Ben Rayak. Glad you mentioned Ben Rayak. In addition to a recent finding of opening of the Bladnoch 19-year-old, which is sherry for it, a recent discovery of mine was the Ben Rayak 22-year-old Moscatel finish in the blue.
Oh yeah.
Box. I think it's in the motorhome. I took it on holiday with him. Now it's not produced anymore, so there's very, very few about. But when I opened it, it was another one where it was like it's just a fantastic dram. Disappointing thing is now it's quite few and far between, so trying to get a hold of one is quite difficult. I think I got mine off at auction, but I'll tell you what, I missed trying it when it came out, but it just goes to show you there's just whiskies out there you've not even tried yet. This stuff was stunning. So
I enjoyed that.
Whatever Ben Rayak this guy's talking about is just spurred the memory there.
Well, he's just saying about his dram in Edinburgh. I was saying I hope he was kind of surrounded by friends and that, but he was saying weather disruption delay for work. So just in town, killing time. And he says, I often wonder how much context and situation plays into pinning a dram in memory. So
I think
he's down there for work, not a very pleasurable experience, to be fair. Gets weather delayed, which is an even worse experience. Yeah. And then he has a dram, and that's in his memory forever.
But maybe that's what made it special, that he was in Edinburgh. Whatever he was looking at, I'm sure Edinburgh at the time, if it was Christmas time, would be looking fantastic. The weather, desperate to get home, but stuck. So then you're faced with this nice dram, and you think, actually,
bit romantic, isn't it?
Life's not bad. Life's not bad. I do think the scene setting and all of these things definitely come into play. I was talking. I'm trying to remember. I was talking to a guy when I was on holiday there. No, I think it was in Alatar. I was talking to a guy, and I said, and I've probably said on these chats before, whiskey is such an amazing drink to me because there are no other drinks that work like this.
Transports you.
Where, on the bottle there's some flavor profiles, and on the web there's some flavor profiles. There's guidance as to what they expect from it. But as I said to this guy, I'm sure maybe I'm boring, some people have been on before. When you drink it, or Mark drinks it, or whoever drinks it, or noses it first, the nose that comes off and the memories that it invokes are personal to him. I can't tell you what you should get from. I can tell you, you should get like vanilla, you should get this and that, but it's more than that. It's that plus the linked memories. And that's what makes it unique and like just stunningly romantic. And then the same with the taste as well. Yeah, I can taste barley sugar. I can taste, grandma's handbag on a windswept beach and all that sort of nonsense. But that's only for me,
Mhm.
and that's only in here. It's not in your head and in the next guy's. So that's and I started off life really didn't like whiskey at all. But it's like if I was trying to sum it up, that's what I say to people now. Is like it's really it's a it's a personal journey what you experience, but it's an experience you want to have with other people, and you'll all have different experiences, but being together and having those experiences is, and maybe I'm sounding like a big girl now, but that's I don't think there's any other drink in the world like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'd agree. It does invoke a lot of sentimental values and things, and people can have different experiences from it. So it's quite a unique thing. We're out of whiskey. I'm out of beer. I had, unless we're going to pour in our jam, I was going to grab another beer. But what I wanted to talk about, and one thing that we discussed beforehand about talking about that we sort of missed, we're almost hitting 1 hour 40 minute mark, so we've probably got another 15, 20 minutes to deal with. Mark saying I get the inside of a 5 meter, a size 5 mitre on the nose of that Stosha. So that's a ball.
That's quite specific.
Footballs.
Yeah.
I get the inside of size 5 mitre on the nose of the Stosha.
Oh,
So I get what you mean,
5'5".
Stevie. Always good to hear people's notes, no matter how weird or wonderful they are. So
yeah, I don't think there's any right or wrong.
So that's almost like on the inside of that, it's almost like a kind of rubbery. I'm sure it's like a rubbery kind of leather mixture. But yeah, we'll get our beer. I don't know if you want to pour on our whiskey.
Well, I do.
So we'll pour on our whiskey. What I wanted to ask and what we kind of overlooked was a whiskey that you miss, a favourite whiskey or a whiskey that you can recall being a favourite that you don't have a bottle of anymore. It's hard to get a bottle of or something. A kind of favourite from back when that you miss.
I've got a slightly different take on that.
Right. The orange bladder, yeah.
I've got a slightly different take on that. Whiskey that thoroughly enjoyed, big fan of, but they don't do anything special often enough for you to, oh, here's the next one of these coming out, here's the next one of these coming out, here's the next one of these coming out. So there's a specific distillery I have in mind where I still have got like 2 or 3 of them, but everywhere I go I say the same thing to people. Why do these people not do more? Why are they staying like so low profile? So if that counts or if that covers under what you're saying, I've got one that I would like to talk about.
Right, well, I will get a beer, but what I was thinking is just that a whiskey. I mean, yeah,
It's just gone forever.
maybe not going forever, but maybe one that you don't see the value in buying again, but one that's went and gone that you would like see like for example, even like something like the Glendronach 15, where people were crazy for it and then they tried to make it again that wasn't quite the same, and people probably missed the old Glendronach 15. Something like that. I'm trying to think what my example would be.
I've not got a good example of that.
But yeah, something like that. That's what I would say.
But we can't drink it because obviously it's.
I know what that, but we don't have to drink it. We can like talk about it. So Mark's saying that rattery that we've just drunk, that's his, as a joke. And Willie's saying Lefroy 10, and I think he means the original Lefroy 10 because obviously you get Lefroy 10 now, but it's not the same. So something like that, something along those lines. I think I would struggle with it, pinpointing exactly what it would be. I have one.
I've got 2 that are definitely not available anymore that I could easily say. I've got 3 actually. 2 of them have been reintroduced, but I'm not so sure they're the same. But I've got a couple of examples of it. But what's the challenge for filling the glass? What have we to fill the next glass with?
Louise is asking if she wants if we want her to get the beers. It's probably a good idea.
Well, I've still got some beer in my glass, sweetheart, but thanks for offering. Your alcoholic boyfriend's, like, on the other hand, it's empty.
Yeah, no, I'm going dry. My throat's going dry. So we just there's a few comments came in. We've got 13 people. We've kind of dwindled along those lines, but Lagavulin 16 would fall into that category for me, as it got me into single malts, but no value in buying it at the current price anymore. When you used to get it for 49 quid or less. That's a good, a very good kind of way to look at it. Kind of value.
It's always worth keeping an eye on and subscribing to the websites of different whiskey places, because you get all these flash sales and stuff like that. And
the Lagavulin 16, one of them's just been going on and it's constantly rising.
Yeah, but do they not change it every now and again?
They do slightly, but it's the price. Andrews came out with a belter. He misses the Gordon and MacPhail Connoisseur's Choice Ardbeg distilled in 1974 and bottled in 1996.
Wow.
So that seems like a pretty pretty substantial whiskey.
Well, interesting you say that. I think I was quite lucky because my dad and my uncle were into their whiskey, and back in the day when it wasn't so ridiculously expensive, Islay whiskey was the furthest away from my profile at all. And I remember one Christmas, my uncle got a 1977 Ardbeg, and my dad got the Ardbeg Lord of the Isles. And I was fortunate enough to get a taste of it. And the Ardbeg 1977, even over the Lord of the Isles, just blew me away. It was just this flavour sensation in your mouth and then disappeared. So the act of swallowing and feeling it going down was non-existent. It just disappeared. It was amazing.
I've never tried that. It's one that I've heard you go on about a couple of times.
Yeah,
it would be interesting.
Nuts.
Mark saying Ben Nevis 10, the old Ben Nevis 10, cracking stuff, gone but not forgotten. I'm pretty sure he got me 2 miniatures of that. Coach Willie, who was in the chat earlier, I don't know if he's still here, he gave me a Ben Nevis 10 and a Ben Nevis 10 batch 1, and they were both
Ben Nevis is just
fantastic.
To make a wee bit of momentum. It was never the owner's focus for it to be like a single malt and in its own right, but it's just slowly gathering a wee bit of momentum, and
I think because
there's some independent bottlings coming out as well.
Yeah, Ryan's saying the old Ben Nevis 10 as well. Bart's saying Arn 14 was a stellar dram, but most of all he misses the old Brook Laddie 10-year-old. Louise is saying we have to get our own beer, so I'll do that. And I'm saying
I miss the old Mortlach 16-year-old.
Oh yeah,
I miss the old Glen. Was it 15 or 16? I know they did the 15 revival. Not the same by any way. And the third one was the Auchentoshan 3-wood, the original Auchentoshan 3-wood. Those are ones that stick in the mind.
Andrew's saying his first bottle of that Ardbeg that he went on about, the Gordon MacPhail one, cost him £40.
Yeah.
His last bottle cost him £357. So he's obviously enjoying it enough to spend a little bit more. Ryan.
I mean, his kids are probably going to school with their shoes on and stuff like that, but hey, that's okay.
Ryan just put a good shout. Ryan said, and I've had this many times and agree that it's slightly better than the 21-year-old. Ryan says the old Pulteney 17 for him.
Oh, controversial, because I've got the 17 and the 21-year-old. In fact, that's maybe what we'll go for next. I'd like to say that you're wrong, but I switch between the two. Sometimes I have it and I think, no, 21's definitely, and then other times I have it, and it's like, no, the 17's got the edge. So yeah, I sort of go between the two. So yeah, good shout.
Bart's saying he misses the Ardbeg Oogie when he just started out. Magic in the Glass can't replace that first encounter. So that's quite a good topic as well, rather than more like a, because he's not saying he misses the whiskey in the sense that he can't get it again, but more of the first experience. So I suppose that's like your first kiss or losing your
Wallet.
your wallet.
I was just checking.
Yeah, Bart's saying Old Pulteney after the store shut, that can't work, can it? Well, it depends how much beer we have to cleanse our palate, but I'm sure something can work. We may have to go for a peated dram.
I do have an old Pulteney from 1983 that's not open. But yeah, we're not doing that after the store shut.
Yeah, I preferred the 17 Old Pulteney, the 21. The 21's good, but I think the 17 is just that bit better. Yeah, I'll go grab another beer. Do you need a beer? You all right?
Well,
I'll bring the bottle.
Just bring it, most with it.
But yeah, so if you want to talk about a whiskey that was you remember being like a favourite or something that you can no longer get or something that you miss, I think that would be a kind of good talking point just for we've probably got maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes left because that'll be 9 o'clock soon. So, and we didn't start till a wee bit later, but we're hopefully going for a 2 hour mark.
Oh, are we? Right, okay.
Yes.
I didn't realise our airtime was limited. Right. Okay, so apparently our airtime is limited. Sorry to all you loyal fans out there who enjoy listening to us dribbling all sorts of nonsense. I'm not sure what to tell for my next one. The distillery I was talking about doesn't quite fit Stuart's remit. I'm a huge fan of the whiskey that comes out of Glen. At one point Billy Walker was there, and he's long since gone from there. I thoroughly enjoy what they produce. I just don't. I'm disappointed they don't do anything often enough to sort of like keep themselves like on the radar. I have got an old 1986 30-year-old from when Billy Walker was there, but I'm talking about the younger stuff, the octaves and the Pedro Jimenez sherry cask, which is, I don't know, it's about £60. And I've got my second bottle there. That's a distillery I wish would just do a bit more because it's kind of in the category that I said earlier on. Like if you try 2 or 3 and you like it a lot, it inspires you to buy more. The problem is that with Glen there isn't more to buy. So yeah, not sure. We're just killing time. I was just talking about the Glen in terms of.
There's one. Bart said we need at least 3 drams for the road. See Stevie fall asleep.
Right, that's so not happening.
And then have Louise yelling in the hall. That's about effing time before you lads can go offline. See before Dave jumped the gun
there.
Louise,
what?
Would you like to choose our third dram? We've only had 2.
It's like a sweaty sauna in here.
It might be, but we've only had.
How many have you had?
We've only had 2.
Daddy, have you had any water?
Yes, I've had.
Because I've seen Stuart drinking a full pint of water and he's not shared it with you once.
I've had my beer was made with water.
And
the whiskey was made with water.
What have you had so far?
Well, so far we have had. What have we had? Oh no, we had the.
If you can't tell me, you're not getting an hour one.
We had the Downwar, and we had Glen Cadam.
Okay.
What do you think?
We have just had a peated dram as well. So
yeah, so we need something that's powerful.
Powerful, but it doesn't have to be too peated. Because we've cleansed our palate of beer.
Or no peated at all.
What about a Bladnoch or a Fettercare?
For me, that's fine because I'm quite a fan.
Well, Stuart's
I-
fussy as in, so
Yeah.
whatever I pick wouldn't work anyway.
I think I want the Kalila.
See, why even ask?
No, but, Louise,
Yeah.
you need to get it
Why? That's not what I picked.
so that it looks impressive when like people like seeing something the waitress.
This one. I'm not your waitress. Is it this one?
Yes.
Now,
Thank you.
right, show them that, by the way, because this is a cask series right from Gordon and MacPhail, and you guys got me a Glen Spey.
Yeah.
Same series,
Same range.
same range. I had a few. I had a few of them in the van where I was on holiday, and it's fantastic stuff.
Do you want to drum this as well, or
No, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go for the Gordon MacPhail Scapper.
right? Because I was just going to stick. I'm going to stick with a wee bit of peat. Yeah.
Keep it clean, boys. What you saying?
No, he's just saying. Max is just saying Stuart's look. I must have made a look. And then a few people are laughing.
Yeah, that's his under the thumb look.
Yeah. So
What can I have?
what can I have? So we've got a Kalila. You can't really see it. It's a 2005 14-year-old. First and refill bourbon barrels, initial maturation, and it's been finished for a year in Hermitage casks. I'm not usually the biggest fan of Kalila, but Stevie gave me this, and it kind of sparked something in me to drink more Kalila, to try more Kalila, and this was definitely
How come we've only had 2 whiskies? We've got like 30 glasses.
because we've used that.
Yeah, pour it in there.
We've not done it 2 whiskies, but 3 each. So as I was saying, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't know what I enjoyed about it. I think the peat, the Kalila, the smoked bacon mixed with the Hermitage cask. What's Hermitage? Red wine?
It's
A
a,
wine,
yeah,
is
it's,
it?
a, it's
just-
a white cask, and it just gives it a stunning finish.
So Mark is asking, we cracking anything in the night troops?
Oh, controversial. No, hang on then.
And Bart said, what you have in mind, Mark?
Because hang on, I'll pause for a second because I was about to pour a wee dram of this Gordon MacPhail 2005 Scapper, which for me is a very underrated in the shadow of Highland Park whiskey. But I'm intrigued now. What is Mark saying?
Well, he's just asking if we're cracking anything, and Louise is saying, oh, Dad, you should definitely crack a bottle open tonight. I mean, we know Stuart won't. I've got no bottles to open. Although Ryan, not over here, but Ryan is saying, oh, Scapper. So he likes the sound of Scapper, although other people like the sound of cracking a bottle. I don't know if you can see this, but this beer's very fine indeed. Baku Saison.
All right, way to distract us for the fact that you've not brought any other whiskey. Anyway,
I brought 2 whiskies. I thought that'd be enough.
well, 2 whiskies for a whiskey chat.
We're in a room that's
You
got.
better have a lot of chat.
We're in a room that's got like thousands of whiskies.
I think they're all mine. That's not the point.
Ooh, Scapper.
Who's saying that?
Or Tapsaf. Oh, ooh, Spicker. Or Tapsaf.
Oh, it's no tap.
Mark's saying get the taps off. Mark's saying get the tops
I
off.
don't
Taps off.
think you're ready for that, mate. I don't think you're ready for that.
Taps off.
And if your girlfriend's watching, you're definitely not ready for it, like, because
Yeah.
we'll just blow their minds.
Blow your mind.
Aye.
Taps off. We are Taps Off International Bottle Split. The group.
Right. So hang on, what are we doing then?
Well, I've got the Kalila. I don't know if you want to have that, and then our one for the road can be our Taps Off.
Oh, right, okay. So
He's saying stick to, yeah, Max is saying stick to the Scapper.
so Lou,
Louise got this for
Louise bought
birthday, Father's Day.
It was 2 or 3 years ago, and it actually took me. Yeah, I was I think I've had it for 2 or 3 years, maybe even more. And I didn't want to open it to spoil it because you guys gave me it, and then I thought, no, I eventually have to open it. I like opening stuff with sentimental reason as well, and then.
So I've got a Kahlua, you've got a
Yeah.
Scapa, both island whiskies, and then we're going to have a taps off session for one for the road. Hashtag one for the road.
The taps off or trousers off? What is it? Which one?
Taps off.
Tap. Okay.
Martin's saying, great to see you're still here, because I said to Martin we might not be here, but he's back after his dinner. So Martin,
Oh, we've been killing time till you got back, man.
we're just we're getting right back into it,
Alright.
Martin.
We've basically been on water and.
So Martin, I think you've seen the Glen cadams 17-year-old Portwood. Then Stevie, then I had the Tormore 28-year-old from Thompson Bros. Then Stevie treated us to a rare fine 11-year-old Dalmore. And then my last dram for favourites was the this AD Rattray Stosha or Styrosha 6-year-old. Now we're currently on one for the roads. Stevie's got a Scapa by Gordon and MacPhail. It looks like just bourbon. And I've got a Kahlua bourbon, then Hermitage cask finish. So that's what we're drinking at the moment. And we've also got some beer to go along with it. So Bart's saying to Mark, I'll get something to crack. What are you doing? Mark's saying, I'll have a look in the cupboard. So everybody's taking their taps off tonight.
Right.
Bart's saying this is quickly descending into one-liners and capitals. Yes, we're taking our taps right off.
Well, Stuart's not taking his tap off because he's got nothing to take off.
Ryan's saying he's getting driven to work tomorrow, so he's joining in. Bart's saying yes, peer pressure.
So the only one that's not joining in is you.
Yeah, but I'll open one of yours, it'll be fine. And Island Hamish is saying, or Hamish is saying one for the ditch instead of one for the road. So yeah, we'll get this drunk and then what would
By the way, one for the road's a trademark, by the way. One for the road is definitely a trademark. You can't steal it.
If you wonder what I'm doing when I'm going like this, it's me pointing at the camera. We've got the laptop here so we can read the comments, and then the camera's here. So
yeah, but I tend more to be talking to you and forgetting the camera's there. The mistake I keep making is I look there.
Aye, but if we need to pretend we're looking at people,
right? Because that'll make what we're saying a whole lot more interesting.
Buddy, just the two then, Stu. Yes. Martin saying, cheers, thanks for bringing me up to speed. I'll see what I can dig out for myself. You've no pressure to open something new, but if you want to open something new, then we might be as well, or Stevie might be. I take the.
Oh, Stuart definitely will only be.
The we as a collective. So yeah, it's been an okay night. We've talked about favourites. It's not been anything too. Quite chill back. I like this atmosphere. I like the laid back. It takes me a little bit to loosen off at first because I get a little bit kind of tense, but.
No, I think it'll be a bit in your mind. I think you'll be fine.
It is in my mind, but I feel like we always need to have something to talk about, but then we always talk about crap anyway, regardless. It always descends to normal talk anyway, or pub talk.
I mean, yeah.
I think we've asked before about topics and stuff. People do come up with topics, but
it's sort of ad lib, and you feedback a bit about what people are saying there. But I think equally, if people have got topics they want other people to chat with, we can chat with for anything. It doesn't have to be.
I always feel
we've got in our heads. So
I always feel kind of pressured to think that we have to talk about like big subjects like saying like fear of missing out or whatever, or independent, like. But I prefer just a chat with the comments, a chat with the group, a chat between us. I don't think it has to be anything.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not like you're trying to do a professional like tasting and stuff like that. It's very it's a very intimate like conversation about stuff. What helps is getting like comments from people online, and then you can feed off that, because if it was, I always worry that it's a bit too much one-sided.
What with us?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we get.
Yeah.
I'm always butting in, and I feel like we get to chat in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
And
sure
that's-
they'd be quick to tell us if we weren't including them as.
Or they wouldn't be here.
I know they're just mad. So Mark's saying since it's a Whiskey Wins live, it has to be a Blair Athol, Dram More Blair Athol, 12, Flora and Fauna, heavy char bourbon.
Well, sorry, is it a Whiskey Wims live or a Whiskey Moments live guest starring Whiskey Wims? Which, controversial.
Bart says my idea for the rest of the night wasn't a bad guess, was it? No, you're right. Al saying great dramming and hanging out with you guys. Yeah, Al, it's great to have you along. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't know if you've been here all the time, the full time, but yeah, it's good. I like talking. Yeah, I like talking.
This Scappa's marvellous.
The cooler is good.
And you know, for the first time off of it, I'm getting a bit of strawberry angel delight.
Oh, really?
Which is really bizarre from a. So you get it's definitely an island, but it's not as full on island as Highland Park.
A little more subtle.
It's just I used to love this 16-year-old, which you can't get anymore.
One that you miss.
That's one that I miss. But this Gordon MacPhail one that you guys got me.
Yeah, so what, 13-year-old to 12-year-old?
Yeah. But it's a cracking, it's a...
So Bart said, by the way, it's such a nice night. Thanks, Stu and Steve. Yeah, thanks, Bart. You're always here, and we do appreciate it.
Who's that?
Bart, he's over in the Netherlands.
Oh, I
spoke to him before about
Bart.
Dutch Bart. Bart's always here. Bart's always been like a kind of support of the channel. He's always, we've always kind of aligned in the same way of thinking. He's he's right in his history.
Yeah, we need to do
a Zoom night again.
No. We need to do there's a whiskey event.
Oh yeah, the
in
gathering.
Amsterdam or the gathering or
yeah,
something.
Whiskey base.
That we should try and organise at some point in the future.
Yeah. We need to get to that. But yeah, Bart, he's got like his background, his study was in like history and that, at university level and stuff. So yeah, it's good chatting about stuff like that. I quite like into philosophy and that, so we kind of align that way. Yeah, really appreciate your support, Bart, and you're a great guy. Mark saying first fill for Flora and Fauna stew pot. Yeah. First fill and not Flora and Fauna stew pot. All right, I see.
What's that mean?
He's saying the previous comment. Al's saying he's been in pretty much from the start. We appreciate it. Al, thanks for being here. Hope you've had a good time. Louisa's saying not sure I've been included enough, to be honest. She's been through there watching Harry Potter.
You're watching Harry Potter, and to be honest, you're not our target audience.
James is saying that 31-year-old Girvan, 54.6% for £85 has my approval, or it could be the company. Thanks very much, but I'm sure it's the whiskey. It's definitely
That's
always
quite bizarre
the whiskey.
that it's 31 and it's still 54.
I'm not sure how grain matures compared to Max de Silva, whiskey base. I would love to go to that indeed. Yeah, it would be good to get over to that.
Yeah,
we should try and definitely arrange
just because there's obviously some Dutch independent bottlers that we don't see here as well. So it would be quite interesting to see what a different market looks like.
Well, the reason I'm just saying is Mark's going to be in Scotland within 7 weeks. He's coming in October. I won't be here. I'll be at work. But
very well.
He's travelling over. He's travelling over. He's got a good itinerary. So if you want to be up with him, you can.
Give him my contact details. He can maybe even come here one night. We'll have a wee whiskey session in your honour. Like we'll just.
Bart said to Louise. So Louise said, "Not sure I've been included enough," and Bart said, "You and Jura both." Yeah, Jura's not been here. He's through in the other room. He's tried to come through. I was petting him earlier. I wasn't massaging something down here. I was massaging him. Hi on Hamish. Haven't head off, guys. Love the chat. Hopefully get you up to Inverness for a wee tour sometime. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hamish.
Yeah, cheers, man.
We're glad you've enjoyed it.
I may actually be up your neck of the woods on the 10th, I think, maybe.
10th of September.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm needing a pee, but I'm going to finish the Kalila
Oh,
first.
a pea, please, Bob.
Yep.
No, but these, I'd be keen to try a few more of these Gordon MacPhail, whatever that series is called, because you guys got me to Glen Spey.
I think it is the Hermitage series.
Yeah,
of
that is.
Connoisseur's
It's
Choice
all done
or
in
something.
Hermitage casks.
But because the Dave's guys for my birthday, they got me a Lachette, 20-year-old, and it looks fantastic as well. Sounds good. Oh, there's the dog.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
see.
Here comes the wolf.
Come on.
Hooray, go, go.
Go up, come to me.
He's up. Up Stuart's chair, because like you'll be more interested in here.
Is that you done? Is that it?
No,
Is that-
if you
come
don't
to
have,
me.
you can take your place.
Come to me. Like, look at you. Come on. What's this? What's this? Come on. He's not having it. He's away. Right.
Well, Harry Popper's on the telly
I
now.
don't know. I'll go pee. Oh, there you go. Exclusive. So, will Stevie be in Fife next year? So I can't go. Once again at work, but Mark's asking if he'll be at the Fife Whisky Festival because they obviously enjoyed. They really enjoyed having you that time. So
Oh, cheers, man. If we can sort something, we can sort something out. That'd be great. I don't like going to these things on my own.
well, they've got
Yeah.
my contact details, and
Yeah,
if they want to get in contact, but yeah, Steve would be right up for that because obviously, like I said, I can't go. I'm gutted because that was a great festival.
yeah. I thought it was really quite good. Hello, big dog. No, he couldn't give a toss, could he?
Right, I'm going to go. You can come out. No,
So wait, shut the door.
I'm gonna go
He's
pee.
not interested. So, what actually, just while Stuart's away there, and I'm enjoying this Gordon MacPhail Scapper. What conclusions did people come to for the bottle opening or the taps off? What decisions were made, and what are people going for? And I'm looking to be inspired here because if I'm impressed, then I may have to open an impressive bottle myself. So, yeah, I'm not sure what it could be, but yeah, let me know what you think. Oh, there's Jura in the background. But yeah, it's been a good night. It's quite a wee while since we've done one of these, and also, to be honest, on my Instagram account, I've not really been too active. I think during COVID and stuff like that, something happened that just turned me off the whole thing. To the point where I even thought about like cancel my Instagram account, but we'll see what happens. I think it's time to get back on and crack on with life as normal. Jura's going about here before Stuart's away for a pee. Louise, why don't you sit Stuart's seat? I'm sure people would
Some of my gym clothes because I went a big walk with the doggies.
Stuart's hardly dressed up like in a tuxedo. Like gym clothes is going to be better than
I
Whiskey
feel
One's.
I love the offer. I really should be a VIP guest of honour.
You
So
should be
see the next time you
should
do
be the
it.
face of Whiskey One.
I should be. I totally agree
I
with
mean,
that.
his dog would do better being the face of Whiskey
All
One.
right, let's keep it friendly. We're family.
Okay, right.
You want another whiskey? See, if you thought this through, we could have pranked him and gave him something funny.
By the way, this is your scapper. Remember it took me on still.
I thought you were having a Kalila.
No, Stuart was having that.
Oh, you had something different?
Yeah.
I bought that Scappa, by the
Right.
way.
Hurry up and come and read the comments and stuff.
They must be raking in because you've got a VIP guest.
I'm trying to keep the audience going here. So
I feel like we're doing pretty well.
I've asked people to tell us what their taps off decisions were, and I'm looking to be inspired to open something myself.
right, so Max is saying, don't open a bottle, just pour a dram of the Scappa and share the notes with us. So he's got the
I think he's done that.
he's got the scapa in his glass, but he's not really shared the notes. If you want to share your notes, we'll go through that. Mark's saying he'll spark a Blair Athol for you boys who love the place. So I think that means he'll open one. Ryan is on to Abbey
Love
Whiskey Ben Romac single cask.
Oh,
That sounds interesting. So Stevie's going to give his notes on the scapa, if he will.
Has he got any left?
well, it's a unusual one for me because you get on the nose and on the palate, you get the coastal note. So not as in your face as Islay and no peated like Islay. But you can definitely tell it's from an island. But on top of that, in this particular tasting, which could be affected by other stuff we've had, it reminds me really of like strawberry angel delight. So there's a fruity, strawberry sweet flavour going on along with the coastal notes and stuff like that, and it's really in perfect harmony.
You smell? Oh
And I'm not even sure I've noticed it as much as that before. So
no, it's like strawberry laces.
yeah, that was the other word I was going to use. The
Oh.
sweeties called the
Do you
strawberry
know?
laces.
I think I've said this before in reviews, but see those they're usually foreign sweeties, but the strawberry and white swirls, the hard boiled
Yeah,
strawberry and cream. That's just on the nose.
Mm.
Yeah, fantastic.
and it's the same. It's the same on the. What do I do?
Can we read the?
Well, I've not had too many out of it, but I don't remember it being as prominent as that.
So
What does the bottler say?
tasting note: light and fruity aromas layered with vanilla, green apple, and fresh lemon.
See, I get more than the apple. I would lean towards like strawberry sort of.
Creamy initially, juicy grapefruit highlighted with hints of dark chocolate, finishing with a delightful herbal edge. I don't know. Well, just on the nose.
Grapefruit would you get? The top day.
I don't know if they'll be hear it. The bottle's squeaking. So, aye.
But it's like, you know, when you taste something like that, and I remember really liking the 16-year-old, you wonder what is it that, so Highland Park's obviously the big one everybody knows from
Orkney.
From there, and this is in the shadow of it, but it's a cracking.
Yeah, I enjoyed the. I
It's-
did
it's
Scapa
a-
Skirrer and I enjoyed that.
It's a cracking whiskey.
But opening a Kalila 2007 from Gordon and MacPhail refill sherry butt. Yeah, you need to let me know how that goes, but because that sounds quite interesting and aligned with what we've been drinking.
Yeah, because you're not usually a big fan of Greylock.
Martin's saying I haven't opened anything new, but I poured a dram of Compass Box Ethereal. Have you still got the Spaniard? Because you had the
No.
Spaniard for a bit, and that was
That Spaniard was amazing.
a rather pricey but also very good exclusive for LMDW, which I'm sure is like a European shop that I ordered after I had a dram or two too many. LMDW, that's some sort of, it's like Le Maison de wine or something. It's some foreign.
Too posh for us.
Aye. Mark's asking if the sweets I'm thinking of are Campinos, which they are, those strawberry and swirls. So yeah, we're gonna.
I'm still waiting to be inspired by the Taps Aff here.
Aye. Well, we've got one taps off, which is Bart's. He's opening a Kalila 2007 from Gordon MacPhail.
Right.
So he's got a taps off. yeah, so LMDW is La Maison du Whisky in Paris. So I was close, Martin, very close.
Yeah.
And then Andrew's saying the same, La Maison du Whisky. I was close. It was off memory. But yeah, we're going to have this is a little bit of water. I don't know if you want to rinse. This is, we're going to have another tap saff or one tap saff tonight. We want to know if any of you are having a tap saff. So Bart's got his top off.
I'm looking to be inspired to open something.
Right, well, Bart's got his tap saff.
Right, I've got that one.
We've got 15 people in the chat. It could be Louise, it could be Brandon, so that could be 13. So, do you want to take them around your collection? Do you want to? We need ideas. We need.
No, I'm needing people.
Or would you like this?
I'm
what we do in our chat
I'm needing people to go to their whiskey shelf
and open something.
And open something that they've been putting off for a wee while and come back and say, I've opened it.
Right. So
I'd like to ask for video evidence, but we can't do that. But that's the kind of inspiration I'm looking for.
So, yeah, Stevie wants to know what you're opening. Open something. This seems like really bad peer pressure. And like drink responsibly, but open something.
Yeah, open responsibly. Did he smell any?
Yeah, let's get some taps off tonight then. What are you taking the tap off of? Someone's already left. Someone's like, no, I'm not taking the tap. Like,
Have they gone already?
Yeah, one person it dropped is like, nope, I am taking I'm away. So yeah, is anybody else getting their taps off? So Bart's got his taps off. He's been to a Kalila.
Right. So we've got one.
But should we not be?
No, we need more.
Pioneering. Should we not be setting the path? Should we not be?
No. This is over to the people. This is a People's Inspiration Award.
So this is over to the people.
Yeah.
So
we're looking for inspiration.
So I'm going to put this. Oh, I can't type. Might be because of how many whiskies we've had.
Oh, well, 4.
Yeah, it's not. So there we go. Right. So I've took the tap off. Right. So Mark's took the tap off.
Right. What's it?
It's really hard to say that. Like tap off. Like, Mark. So what have you took the tap off of? What have you popped, Mark? What have you popped? Let us know.
Cherry or
Max is. Oh, that's a big one. Max is saying, I will open the latest Long Row 18 now then.
Oh.
That's what he said. Fuck it.
That is inspirational.
That's a big one.
This is the kind of commitment I'm looking for.
Damn it.
Damn it. Pressure's on us.
But it's a hard to get a hold of dram. It's a little pricey, but it's hard to get a hold of. It's a flipper's dream. But he's opened it. So Mark has opened the Blair Awful.
Blair Awful?
Yeah, he's taking it. He's opened the
That's
Blair.
Shocking. You can't be coming away with stuff like that on the internet.
He said, I've opened the Blair Awful from Dramore. Check your Instagram. That's my phone there, so I can't check my Instagram. I should probably check the battery actually, because I could be dying. But yeah.
Oh.
That is the phone there. It's on 22%.
Oh,
we're all right.
We've got any organising things.
We've got 22%. So Martin's saying, gosh, being Danish, it's taken me forever to understand what half means. Sorry, Martin.
It means when you disconnect the thing in the kitchen where your water comes through, it's called a tap. And when you take that off and you disconnect it, that's tap saff.
No, so tap saff is a Scottish thing.
When it's 15 degrees,
yeah.
When it's 15 degrees here, then we call it tap saff weather, which means your whatever you're wearing up here is your tap. That's your top.
Your top comes off.
So your tap comes off.
So in whiskey terms, the top is the cork. So that's
right.
That's tops off. So the cork's off. So
now we're Hardy, 15 degrees, and we take our kit off.
It could even be 12 degrees. It could even be 5 degrees in Scotland.
That's science.
And when it's
could be snowing, and we'll take our taps off.
As long as the temperature's just that little bit warmer. So yeah, that's what tap saff is. So yeah, that's why our movement has so little followers. Yeah, we've got that Instagram tap saff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, do we need to drop that?
Yeah, worst cult ever. We need a better cult.
All right. Well, who introduced that?
That was us. So Martin's saying he finally gets it now. Haha. So Martin, let us know if you're going to open anything. If not, don't feel pressured into it.
I do feel pressured.
Don't feel pressured into it. But
You've got an audience of 12 people here, all chomping at the bit, waiting to see what you're going to open.
right, so we've got the Long Row,
Right.
we've got the Kalila,
Oh,
we've got the Blair Athol.
right.
They're all decent drams.
And what are you going to open, sure?
If I had something, I would open it.
No, where are you going to open, sure? You're not going to open heat, are you?
Well, I've got nothing here.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
James is saying, I have a 30 and 12-year-old, 57.6% first fill
Oh,
bourbon Lady of the Glen that he's willing to pop. If you want to pop it, get on it. That was quite.
nice choice. I got a few. I'm a wee fan of Fetter Care of you.
Yeah. Bart says, I think we settled on taps off because Stu always took his tap off any chance he got in a WhatsApp group. That's pretty much me. I'll get my top off. But I'll get anything off. Like, I will.
Yeah, well, he's not going to get his tap off tonight, is he? Because he never brought any.
I was flexing those chest muscles. No, I will get anything off. I am not
Right then.
shy to show.
Right then. This puts me under huge pressure. What do you think?
Well, I'll let you choose. I don't want to force your hand. You choose what you want to, what you think. Doesn't have to be anything too special if you don't want it to be.
No. I'm just trying to think what I've been sort of interested to.
Oh, let me go talk.
I do know.
Well, Bart says follow your intuition, Stevie.
I do know.
Oh, we've got some more comments if you want to wait.
Yeah.
You're right in the camera though.
Hello.
James says, yeah, it opens up well, not my first of this bottle, and a drop pops out the fruit. That's good to know. Andrew says, my most recent opening was the Digestive Dram, 27-year-old from Cascade A, the Highlander Inn. Will that do? Anything will do.
Anything does, mate.
If you want to open something, if you don't want to open something, if you already got to open something, have a drink of it. Do not worry. Mark says, get that tap off a bottle of Strathmore, Stevie.
Strathmore?
Get the top tap off a bottle of Strathmore, Stevie.
Right. No.
Strathmore?
You're going to have to explain that one.
Strathmore.
Now, meanwhile,
Just don't try to match that filthy Campbellton water.
no. Never.
Ryan says, I'll crack open a fresh Springbank 10. Nice one.
Ooh.
I like that. And what are your numpties? Ryan's saying we need some water. I think that's what he's saying. What are your numpties?
We've got beer in our water.
Oh, Strathmore. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, Strathmore
Right.
water.
What I'm going to choose here is another one in the
Had a few.
old particular.
Strathmore is what?
I got it.
I know, but that's
I'm
like.
trying to move on.
Imagine you said like Highland Spring and we're like, what the fuck's Highland Spring?
I'm trying to move on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to go for another one in the old particular series.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because you brought fuck all.
Louise is asking if this is one for the road.
Aye, there's one for the road. Now, we've had the Midnight series, which the guy earlier on spoke about, his Speyburn and the Dalhuane. There was 3 or 4 in this range. This one is from the Harmony series.
Yeah, Harmony series.
Wee curveball for us tonight. This is a grain whiskey from Cameron Brigg from the Harmony series, and I don't know if anybody can, don't know if that's clear or not. But we're going to pop the cherry on this one, because I know Stuart likes his grain whiskey.
Yes, and Louise is asking, is this the one for the road.
Or the one for the road.
Yes, this is the final one.
Well, there are many roads to be travelled.
It is 25 to 10.
Yes,
That's almost 3 hours.
there are many roads to be travelled. So one for the road depends on which road you're talking about. So the road to leave my street is one road.
Yeah.
So you need one for the road. The road to get from there to your street is another road.
Mark is saying part 1 of one for the road. The neck is young.
Or the roads are many.
Oh wait, take it right up to the mic. The mic will get a good pop on that.
Hang on. I'm gonna pop
Oh,
it.
he says he hopes it's at least 18 if you're popping its cherry.
Oh, that will sound beautiful.
Is it 18? 58-year-old.
One of 207 bottles. Aged 25 or 26 years, depending on your eyesight.
Andrew Potter says Strathmore was a short-lived malt distillery situated within north of Scotland grain distillery in Cambus. Its existence lasting all of 1 year. But yeah, we missed the joke. Strathmore is a water, a bottled water. Bottled water.
So the thing is, if you have to explain it, it's not really a joke.
Bart's saying gorgeous with an Irish accent. Gorgeous.
Oh, to be sure, we're going to have this gorgeous Cameron Bridge whiskey here.
Oh, Cameron Bridge.
I don't know what I've done with the top off it.
The tap.
Oh, we've lost the tap half.
Oh.
Where's the tap half? Where the fuck's the tap half?
Where have you put the tap?
Well, I didn't really know.
Oh, is the tap up there?
Is it up there? Is
Oh,
it?
no, it's not up there. 33. Where the balls the tap?
Where the fuck's the tap half?
Where the fuck?
Oh, I was sitting on the tap. I'll just put it back on the shelf.
There you go. 9-2. That's all particular there.
Oh, that's
I don't know if that's Irish or Islands.
That's a grand boys. We'll just try it with the new.
Oh, we'll have a little bit of this. Oh, that's like rubbery.
Is that Chinese for lovely? Oh, it's very lovely.
Can't do that. I don't think. Oh, that's rubbery. That's rubbery. Mark saying actually cry and laughing some night this. Yeah, rubbery is not lovely. No, it is. I'm so rubbery.
I'm so Chinese. I'm lovely.
James Morgan, did you get that Louvain Fife? Oh, Jesus. Did you get that Louvain Fife Festival, James Eady, 23-year-old grain?
No. Did anybody else get it?
No, I missed out on it stupidly. I could have bought it, but I didn't think it would be worth it at the time, or not worth it at the time. I just didn't think I had the money at the time, and I probably did, and now I do regret it. It was a Cameron Bridge. It was a Cameron Bridge, wasn't it? It was beautiful.
Sure, that's nice.
But yeah, I wish
He was fucking poured half that, are you?
I wish I had some of it. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, I need to tell you a soppy story about Louvains.
2 seconds. 3 comments. Martin, I have an SMWS tasting tomorrow and a Cadenheads tasting on Saturday. Poor me, so I have to hold back just a little tonight. I am loving this though. It's no bother. You take your time. Don't overdrink.
Don't hold back.
Louis says, "Oh God, what is happening? This is taking a strange turn." And then Bart says, "How bad is the cringe on your end?" And Louis says, "Bart, very lol, but I'm used to it." I thought our Irish accents were pretty good.
It says, my wife Sharon bought me this. This is like just creaminess in a glass.
I think the nose is a little.
Yeah, the nose betrays what's actually in the glass.
Yeah, if I was to nose this, I'd be a little bit.
I'm going to tell you a soppy wee story about Louvains, right?
Right, go ahead.
So, my dad, he doesn't travel very far anymore. He's too old for the driving and stuff like that. But he has saved up his pennies, and my mum said to him, "Why don't you drive over to Louvains? You've not been there for years, and get yourself a couple of bottles of whiskey." So he did this last week. Off he went over to Louvains, and where's it called?
it Cooper or St Andrews?
The one in Cooper. The one in Cooper is the original store. So off he went over there, got over there, and he's in the shop, and he's talking to the woman, and she said, my dad's telling her, you know, this is where I started my collection years ago. And he was saying to her, there used to be a guy here with a beard, and he described the guy, and his name was Vince. And my dad was thinking he was long gone. And she says, that's my dad.
No way.
Yeah. My dad says, do you mind asking, is he still
With us, like, aye.
aye? She said, do you want me to go and get him?
No way.
Aye. So she went away through the back, and the guy's in his 70s or whatever. And he came back through. I mean, it was just, for my dad, it was a perfect day, because he can't do these journeys anymore, and he doesn't. He's not as connected to that stuff anymore. But he came through, and he was talking to my dad, and that was saying blah blah blah, and Vince was saying, you had the signatory Millennium of Malts or Century of Malts with a scroll in it. I was like, yeah, that's me. And he mentioned a couple other ones. So yeah, he actually remembered. He actually remembered my dad
After all those years.
after, I mean, I don't know how many years it's been more than 10 years since he's been there. But it was quite, it was too much for him driving, so I don't think he'll be doing it again. But he bought 3 whiskies when he was there. So he said to Vince, look, here's what I really like. And the old guys recommended 2 or 3, so, or 2 anyway.
Is it the driving himself that he can't do, or is it just journey and total?
I think it's just the effort that driving.
Because could you take him? Could you?
I know. I mean, no, that would be okay. But driving himself is just too much for him. But it's great that he did it, and it's great that he got the surprise to the fact that he never expected that guy to be there. So I don't know who mentioned Louvians, but that was a wee story that brought a tear to my eye. That was just fantastic.
Well, Bart said, seems nice to have your dad get on with your boyfriend so well.
No, dad thinks he's a prick, but that's by the way. You all know that already, so everybody likes prick.
So it's since we're getting touchy feely. So it's weird. So my dad's never been into whiskey, obviously, but I've always looked up to you for that sense of things, like being into whiskey and teaching me the ways in a sense. But my dad did get me, to be fair, because where he worked with a haulage company, and he used to get whiskey given to him as gifts from different customers, different what would you call them? Not customers, but clients. Different clients would give him whiskey, and I remember what one was the Long Row peated and one was the Springbank 15, and I thought, looked these online, I seen them were like £35, £40. I was like, oh, these are crap whiskies. My dad's just gave me them because he gave me them. But then I had them, and then I realised, like, I actually really enjoy these whiskies, this Springbank, this Long Row. I really enjoy these. And although I've got you to thank for a lot of whiskies, like, I like having, like, there's that little bit. Although it was complete coincidence, he didn't know what he was giving me. He was just giving them because he knew I liked whiskey. But he gave me the Long Row and the Springbank 15 or Springbank 10, and then I fell in love with Springbank after the fact. But it wasn't until then that I realised, like, what he gave me were really good.
Your dad didn't really appreciate whiskey as such. It wasn't really his sort of go-to thing. But he was here a few times. Last time before he went home, he was here with a barbecue. Oh, you weren't here. We had a barbecue, and your dad was here. Your mum and dad were here. And sometimes he would come in here, and me and him would sit and just shut the door. And it was nice because he would try a couple of things. And actually, funnily enough, one of the last ones he tried was a Highland Park twisted tattoo. he was like, "Oh, give me one now. I fancy trying one of them." And I was like, You'll know," but he did.
Oh,
He was. I was like, "No, that's the last you want to try."
because he drinks like McEwen's export Guinness. He doesn't really drink whiskey, and when he drinks whiskey, he downs it. He just takes all in one. But there's a few.
We had a couple. We had a couple of nice nights here where he,
Aye.
where he. I don't know whether he was just trying to be respectful or not, but he did enjoy it.
So some comments. Louise is saying, yeah, all joking aside, it's amazing how good we get on. Yeah, it can be a lot worse, especially we've got whiskey in common. James is saying, I'm sure as long as you stay happy, it will last. I don't know if he's meaning between us. Our relationship will last.
Well, I'm not always happy, so like, there's that.
Mark's saying we all love Unky Stevie.
Yeah, now you're talking, man.
And then Bart says, right, let's steer this back to whiskey and manly stuff. Next thing Stu's going to read out his attempts at poetry. Oh, well, now that you mentioned that.
Right. Well, before you do that, can we just say a couple of words on this grain whiskey? And also,
no, we definitely need
let's get a couple of words on what people have opened there, because this is, because I had a Gordon MacPhail private something grain whiskey that was quite old, and you weren't so keen on it.
I think it was Douglas Lane.
Sorry, Douglas Lane. Yeah.
Right, so Bart opened the Kalila. Ryan got the Springbank 10. I don't know if he's still here. I think Mark opened the Blair Athol. So we've got that to discuss. So we've opened this, or you
didn't open fuck all.
You've opened this Cayman Bridge.
Yeah.
I don't like it on the nose. I think the palate's nice enough, but I still think there's a wee bit of
I think on the nose, you're right. I think on the palate, I think it's really quite lovely.
I think the palate's lovely, but I think there is a wee bit of the only way I describe it is, it's just so weird. It's like, I just feel like a wee pinch, but it's nice. It's nice.
See, that would encourage me to try
more grain.
What's that XOP I've got up there?
But I had the Port Dundas. It was lovely.
I've got 33-year-old XOP.
I'll have a look. Oh, these legs. North British. So the only thing about the XOP is the stopper. You ever tried to take the glass stopper out the XOP I've got the Blair Athol? An effing nightmare.
No, but the other one I had was a glass stopper as well.
Oh no, but the XOPs are different. The glass stoppers are
different glass.
I don't know, different class.
Different class.
So who's still here? What's everybody drinking? There's 11 people here. This is like a pub. 11 people is still a good amount of people. This is
Who's
like
playing the buggy?
Right, who wants around the pool? So Bart's saying,
Louise, tell Shazbot this is really nice. This.
Louise is saying nothing. No, Bart's saying, Louise, nothing wrong with a man in touch with his feminine side. Can't stand the macho male thing. Stu is sound. I feel bad we can't meet in October.
Oh, Stu's definitely in touch with his feminine side, like, no doubt about
it. Ryan saying he's still here. This SB10 needs a little bit of time. Thought it was March 22. Yeah, just a little bit to kind of open up. And Willie's saying, just like a pub. Mark's saying it's a lock-in. Yeah, Ryan's back to his Springbank 10. He's saying nose is solid, but the palate is lacking some of the standard tropical funk I normally get from the 10-year-old. Yeah, the 10-year-old usually gives me that kind of a wee bit of pineapple funk, a wee bit
tropical, yeah.
Aye.
Because it's funny you say that, because the reason I go for Fetter Cairn and Blood Milk is because of that tropical notes that.
Sorry, Martin's away.
But cheers, mate. But I've never associated that with a.
Yeah, I would say like how he's described it's perfectly the tropical funk. Like I normally get like a kind of almost like a dry pineapple, or kind of like a funky pineapple, a funky fruit or a funky, and it is usually pineapple, something like that. But it's interesting that one's not got that. Bart says the tropical funk always reminds me of bin bags, oddly. You can understand that, like fresh bin bags that you get that kind of new
bin bags full of pineapple, or
no, like new plastic. Basically, when you get a roll of bin bags,
tropical scented bin bags.
So you get a roll of bin bags,
Yes.
and you open it. Do you change your bin yourself?
Yeah, but wait.
When you get the bin bag and you open it up and you go.
Yeah, but normally the bin bags then they smell tropical.
And you waft it and you get like all the air in it, and it's like got that like kind of synthetic rubbery.
Which one did you open?
I opened your. Oh, sorry, audience. I opened your own particular grain whiskey you bought me.
Christmas.
Yeah, that is really lovely.
How old is it?
I think it's 26. I think.
It's got to be old for a grain.
Yeah, I mean it's young for a grain, but it's really nice.
So Ryan said yes, dried pineapple, mango, and papaya too, and then he said, "Crap! Now all I can smell is bin bags." Oh, we've definitely not got bin bags here.
I would buy the bin bags he's got.
If
you want to market bin bags, then I'll buy them.
Here we have Springbank whiskey.
Tropical mango mayhem bin bags.
This is good. It's still like there's still.
No.
I like grain. I don't.
There's no still in.
So I had that Port Dundas, a 33-year-old, but the only thing I feel about grain is there's still a little bit of there's something.
What Port Dundas?
The Cadenheads. I've still got some of it. You've definitely had some of it. I'll give you more of it. But there's still something that's just. It's a little.
Well, it's no. I agree.
It's not bad.
It's not the same. It's not the same as a single malt whiskey finish.
But no, see, the thing is, see if I have a blend. If you have a blended whiskey, regardless if it's single malt, a blended whiskey and then like a single malt, they're quite. And even like foreign whiskey, like Paul Job, but there's just something about grains. It's just a little bit that just like kind of. It's like a little hook that just there's like a hook in my head or a hook in my brain that just tells me like here there's something no right about this, but no in a bad way. Like it's no bad. It's just something that just like tells me like here. I don't know what I'm saying. There's 6 people left.
There's even a wee bit of cappuccino on the end of the flavour, like that I like. That is superb.
Mark saying, come and get your black bin bags. They're on offer till December. Heavy duty black bin bags. They're long and black and slender.
And tropical.
He's also saying this Blair Athol smells like aftershave. Ladies would love it. James is saying Aquaviti is on. He's got like over 10,000 subscribers. He's big on YouTube. He's got a live one tonight. He says, so you guys have some real competition. We didn't expect this to stay on this long, and we're not really trying to take anything away from Aquaviti, even though our numbers, like he gets like 200, 300 people on at a time.
Yeah.
We like the intimate setting. We're fine with that.
To be honest, I don't think we're consistent enough at doing it. And
no, he does every week.
I'm probably more to blame than you because for some reason during COVID, I was saying to people earlier on, I went off the Instagram thing, and you've asked me loads of times about doing like whiskey tastings, and just for some reason I've shied away from it. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but that's it. But if he's somebody that's doing it like every week, and I'm sure if we did it every week and if we polished ourselves, then yeah, we could give a run for money. But I don't think it's what we're trying to do.
I don't know if he quit or if he got fired, but I think he might have got fired or made redundant from his job. He used to do like that. I think he's missed his wife. Does well for herself. But I think I don't know if he got fired or if he left or if he made redundant during the time, so he just decided I'm going to do. He's had a good following and he knows his stuff. He's a clever guy. I've met him a few times. But he does that live every Thursday and he gets a lot of numbers in and he accommodates to like an American crowd. So he's on later. He starts now. So he starts at 9:30 and he's on for 2 hours further than that. But
I think you have to do think you have to do more work than we do to get that. You don't you'll never get that on the effort we put into it. You need to do your research. You need to be prepared to do what you're going to do.
Have something written down.
You need to have your time to prepare, and you need to be clear about what you're going to do. But it's like what we do is the opposite of that, which is create a topic and an idea, and then let's see where the chat takes us, which is a kind of off the cuff. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, but it's what we do.
Louise is asking if this is the second for the road. This is still the first one.
No, this is it?
Yeah. So Mark's saying, so what they've done is this YouTube community with Aquaviri and Ralphie heading it, they created this thing called the Oswas, which is the online Scottish Whisky Awards, where they try and independently and transparently rate whiskies. They try and do it so it's independent. But some of the people that are in the judging and that, or last year that were in the judging, are people that are getting free samples and stuff, like handed to them, who are maybe like.
And that does influence.
It does, aye. So
like we're all
one person.
We're all human. That's definitely going to influence.
So one person's getting stuff by Douglas Lang, one person's getting stuff by McMeera or whoever, and they're getting that stuff pushed to them, and they might be like, "Oh no, I'm not influenced by it. I'm transparent in that. I won't be." And but if you're getting stuff, you might think like, "Oh, I'll need to, like they're doing me a favour. I need to do something."
We're all human. Of course, that's what's going to happen. If I say to you, and I've got a wee Douglas Lang shelf there with blends and stuff like that, if I say to you that about them, it's nothing to do with Douglas Lang. It's the
you bought them.
The testimony's on the shelf there.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like
it's something else.
Some of these YouTubers, and that's the issue, and that's the thing that we discuss sometimes. Some of these YouTubers are getting samples, and all they're doing is reviewing samples rather than, and it kind of like. How do you trust that if they're just getting it?
Well, I think there's a place for it, because if they're getting samples, then presumably, well, let's assume naively that they're going to give an honest review of those samples, because they're not committed to any of these people, then to me, that's okay. But if they're going to do a review that's biased because of some benefit from source, then that's not what you want. That's not what people like I want to hear, or it's not something I would want to do to other people.
You think? Aye. So do you think, say, because you've never had it happen to you, I've had Tom and Tool sent me 2 samples. I didn't review them. The Tom and Tool sent me samples. Nian, I reviewed one of their whiskies. Didn't enjoy it, and one of the ambassadors said, "Oh, try this," and one of the labels is like, "I don't know what this is. I just know the percentage. It's 60.9%." And I said, like, that was fantastic. Like, I enjoyed that draft. I didn't know what it was, so I couldn't promote it or anything like that, which is fine. But do you think if you were getting, if like Bladnoch or something, not Bladnoch because you've got a collection of Bladnoch, but do you think if somebody random, maybe Tullibardine, you know, got a lot of Tullibardine or Auchentoshan, would start sending you samples? Do you think?
You do know no one can hear you guys, right?
I know, the phone's just died.
I know. I was asked to get your charger and I dug my heels in. Love you guys.
We're back.
I fixed it, guys.
So, can people hear us?
Yeah, they can hear and see.
So, what I was just saying to to Whimsy there was that
Whimsy. What have I just missed? Have you got nicknames?
no, but it does like go on a bit. Is that if I was to receive samples from people, like the example you were saying, you've had samples from ABC. I would like to think that I've got enough integrity to be able to give that a fair appraisal of what I think, favourable or not, because at the end of the day, again, whiskey is a very unique experience to people. If I say everything's absolutely fantastic and over the moon, it's just downright betraying yourself, because not everything you try tastes, noses, or finishes the way people expect it to finish. I'd like to think I'd have the integrity to be honest about it. What's to be gained by the contrary to that?
Aye, so Bar said, was that not the 10% battery beep? Yes, it was. I don't know if...
You've missed a lot.
Yeah, it looks like I've missed quite a bit.
Quite a bit of
dropped.
chat.
Yeah, Stu's phone battery is folding. You can get a charger for him or let it die.
No, it's not folding. Fading.
Fading, yes.
You can't even read.
I can't really see from here. Guess what I'll pick, Bart? One for the road. The screen tilted. Yeah, we died. Barry died. Yeah, the battery ran out. At least you have the laptop one. Yeah, we do. We had a backup. So we're here.
What's everybody's one for the road?
Are you being serious? This is 3 for the road.
Hello,
No,
Stu.
but
Quick
I've
save.
been counting.
What is their current one?
No,
for
we've
the
only
road?
had one for the road.
You've had 2. That's
No.
The grain.
You did.
No,
Your one for the road was the last one.
Scamper.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're
Right,
safe.
okay.
I thought we were on 2. Well, we worked out in the comments it was the 2 for the road.
Right.
So this is 3.
So we've got for here to the end of my road, and for the end of my road to the roundabout. So we've got to get for the roundabout to your road.
So can everybody still hear?
You should wait for our reply.
Or
Yeah,
maybe-
we need a
or-
reply to make
or-
sure everybody can still hear.
Or maybe they would just like us to go and let them go to bed.
It's like hot in here, guys. Like
I know, but we'll have to like.
you should have cracked the window.
No, but you make loads of noise. So
Oh, it's loud and clear.
Yes, loud and clear, Bart.
Sorry.
So right, there's at least 5 people in here. Should we have one for the road?
Right, 1. Can we have 38 for the road? Yeah, that's about right.
Who said that?
Mark.
Mark.
Right, Louise,
Right.
you pick one for the road.
Well, when I picked the last time,
No,
you
you can pick.
overruled me.
Oh, I can't get over how I'm really liking that grain whiskey.
Everyone's left.
This is terrible camera.
Right.
But
Said it would be 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did
Does-
say you
does-
did say 3.
Does anybody want Stuart to go home and we'll have like 20 for the road?
no, Mark said one more for the until 10:30. Yeah,
I'm working tomorrow, Mark.
So, Matt,
one more.
Yeah, but I work in a hospital. You work in your house. There's a very big difference. People, like I save lives.
Dead.
Sort of.
Like proper dead.
I don't think you save lives.
Well, I help save lives.
You write about people.
No, I help the people who save lives. Save
Oh,
lives.
right, okay.
Right.
Louise, buy Stuart a decent camera for Christmas, for fuck's sake. No.
Right here.
I don't need you to pass me glasses. The whiskey's right here.
Oh no, but we need glasses.
But I don't know what you want. And
Mm.
I'm not picking because the last time you just overruled me.
Just pick anything.
Oh, I'm so pleased with that, by the way.
Is the audio okay, or is the audio a bit fuzzy? Because I can't change the audio.
I think you've heard enough. Dad, what are you in the mood for then?
Well,
I'm doing a skill run. Pick a dark one, please.
a dark one.
Okay, cool, okay. I can
Oh,
do that.
oh. Glen Wasco, Pedro Jimenez is quite dark. Or that.
It's right here.
So I can move this thing.
Right. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Is that audio any better, or is that the same?
This one.
That's quite dark.
Mill.
Aye. A wee bit of that. That's dark as fuck. I mean, dark as anything.
Strathmill. What was the other one you said?
That's the only one I said.
No, you said there was another dark one.
Oh, the other one I said was Glen Pedro Jimenez over here.
Glenglass.
It was better for before. So,
Or Strathmill.
oh, Glenglass or Strathmill. Straight from the laptop. Right, so you want straight from the laptop. Right, so is that better? Audio now worse. So is that better? Let us know how the audio is.
I mean, this is just a train wreck, Stuart.
This is not a train wreck.
My manager committed me to this broadcast on the basis that the quality would be.
Didn't someone say, did you have the old Putney?
No.
Oh no,
I
we
thought you were
didn't.
going to have that.
17-year-old, no, we didn't.
We were, but somebody said have a dark one.
17-year-old. Right, so is that better? Audio better?
So for
Camera's not great, but it's audio better.
one for the road, it's looking as though it's going to be the 2009 Strathmill Carnmore.
Good shout.
So not the old Pulteney. That's fine.
Well, someone said dark.
Right,
so...
that's fine. Put
Old
the
Pulteney's
camera
not. Where's the camera?
right here. We saw a hint of Louise.
Louise,
Oh.
pass it in front of the camera now.
I don't know how, like, this camera's terrible.
Oh,
It
that's
is quite bad. Like.
Oh, that is as dark as tar.
Right, let me see if I can fix it.
That's good enough.
On your Lacheg from Stuart.
Um,
It's like fuzzy.
Right.
You've got a plug-in camera. It's fine. We've not got one.
Stuart, you've got like
This'll-
freaking 10 minutes left.
This'll do just about. What are you doing? What are you actually doing?
Just cleaning the camera.
This has took a horrifying turn.
I've got a question.
I'm
People,
not sure if I'm on some kind of mail.
a few times a night, people have asked about Lacheg. Right,
Oh, we've
Lacheg
got a Lacheg here.
is the peated version of Tobermory.
Mm.
What are people saying about Tobermory?
I think Tobermory's alright, but I think a lot of people prefer Lacheg for the different dynamic of the peated.
Mm.
Right, I need to go pee. Don't worry about it all is well. I wouldn't worry, we couldn't read it before. Yeah, I thought so. Willie says, aye, train wreck, seen worse.
Well, that's comforting that they've seen worse. Comforting. Are you pouring that or not? Are you just going to sit it in front?
They can hear you.
Sorry, forgot. I'm not used to that.
Right.
Well, you can't be bitching on the phone.
I'm not bitching on the phone.
Look at that. That is as dark as. Well, nothing I can say would be politically correct.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, is that enough?
That's exactly
That's plenty.
Aye, camera's held down there.
That's quite a large whiskey.
Oh, no, you've had your lips on that. I'm not having that.
Tobermory is okay, but doesn't do too great in finishes and is too expensive.
But it's the same place.
And then Max said Lacheg over Tobermory.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, I need to go pee.
Again?
Oh, go then.
Aye, and then we'll talk more.
Great, I can't wait.
Lacheg over Tobermory.
Yeah.
Well, the only difference is peated.
Peated, aye, because it adds that.
Jira, there's no one at the door.
So, we've moved on to, I don't know how many people are still left. We've moved on to a Strathmill 2009, 11 years old at 47.5%. And Stuart's been replaced by a dog, which to me is a good thing because the dog doesn't drink my whiskey and Stuart does. So, oh, there we go. What's happening, Stuart? Can you read the comments here, Elise?
Bart wrote, Jura, as in he's peeing is good. He is getting rid of the toxins to drink more. Yeah, that's not happening.
That's what Stuart's doing.
Yeah, no, that's what he means.
He's away doing what he talks.
Bart says, don't trust people without pets.
People with pets are loonies.
Andrew says that's much better, but I don't know what he's talking about.
So, people, what's in your glass right now? We're finishing with a Strathmill.
I'm having a vodka and Diet Coke.
A vodka and Diet Coke.
But I've left it in the living room.
Is there a specific vintage?
It's that puffin vodka that you got.
Puffin vodka.
Puffin vodka.
Okay, you're having a puffin vodka and Diet Coke. Out there in the real world, what are people having? Anybody having a puffin whiskey?
What beer is Stevie drinking? Mark wrote good boy. I'm not sure if he's talking to you or the dog.
It's not me.
I think it could be you.
I'm not a good boy.
You could be. Good boy, Jura, Ryan said.
By the way,
The dog's a good presenter. And what beer are you drinking? No one's interested in where Stuart is. No one cares.
The dog's replaced you.
Everyone's quite happy with the dog, and now you're going to sit on him. That's just sick. Oh. Bart says have regular Coke. Coke sucks. Okay.
The dog is there.
Ryan says good boy, Stevie.
Yeah. Oh, well done. Right, I'm a good boy. So, beer. What's your?
The dog's a good presenter.
You're on Beer Moretti.
Oh, we're having a beer Moretti and a Strathmill Canmore.
You didn't ask about your whiskey. You asked about your beer.
Look.
I mean, Canmore, I think, are still a really good independent bottler of whiskey. And they do some interesting and good stuff at the right price.
They're just bringing out, they're bringing out too much shit. Like, they're bringing out a lot. Like, they're bringing out, almost, like so many whiskies.
Bart, it's Diet Coke all the way, by the way.
The only thing I've got to say about independent bottlers is whether you're talking about frequent flyers, Canmore, or any of these other ones, they're the competitive stuff, the stuff that's coming out at reasonable prices, is always for the same distilleries. It's the
podcast,
Manachmore, the podcast, this, that, and the next thing. It's which is fine because they do interesting stuff with it. So I think it encourages you to go for a whiskey you wouldn't normally go for. But if you look at all the independent bottlers and the whiskies they're producing, they are all bottling stuff that the whiskey producer themselves don't bottle much of.
So
I don't know if that says anything or not.
I don't know how well the audio is, if they can hear us pretty well, but Mark's saying that Strathmill went instantly. It's the one we've got.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because it was so dark, and he drunk it rapido.
Yeah. Do
you think, right? And I've thought this before, and one of the examples is that Spey side 23-year-old. Do you remember that one I had from Laird? The Bartels. Do you think aye, it was tiny. It was only like a 50 TL. Do you think colour relates to quality at all?
No, I think.
Do you think there's a correlation between saying that is so dark?
Well, I think
that's going to be good.
No, I think yes and no. So,
cheers, Mark.
From a marketing point of view, it would seem that the darker the whiskey, the more intrigued people are. So from a marketing point of view, that would seem to be, and if I was being honest, and I was up in the Whiskey Castle at Tom and Toole recently, and there was a whiskey I looked at, and it wasn't a common one. I wish I'd bought it and I didn't. And I actually emailed them about it afterwards. there's something about a dark, rich looking whiskey that appeals to people. Definitely. There's also from a packaging point of view, because you can't read what's on the label from a taste profile point of view. So what catches your eyes first? What catches your eye first is the colour of whiskey and the packaging. If you can't see the colour of whiskey, it's the packaging. And I've bought many a whiskey just based on the packaging. You know, it's an age-old debate about
packaging over quality, or
yeah, absolutely.
I suppose, like, when you look at
debate,
like the things like, I don't know how I can say it, but when you look at the things like Dornoch and that, and you think initially what attracted me to Dornoch and what attracted me to this whiskey is it's probably the label, but then it's not until you read like that's a Tormore 28-year-old, and they said it could be same like for the colour of whiskey. Like when you look at colour of whiskey, like, oh, look at that colour. Like that looks like it could be a good whiskey, but there has been examples where I've had like a dark whiskey and it's not been that great.
No, but it's all about what they're trying to do is meet the expectations and the demands of people. Where did port cask finishes come from? Port cask finishes came from the whiskey industry trying to create a whiskey that appealed to the female, right, drinkers. The sort of slightly pinky, slightly more. That's not my opinion. That's just a fact. That's where the port finishes started to come from. It's everything's got an appeal to different groups of people. Sherry cask finishes have got a huge appeal to people, including myself. You know, you see a really look at that when I have in that Bartels there. You see a really dark one, and there was one in the Whiskey Castle, and I can't remember the name. And you think, oh my God, that you, without knowing anything about it, you look at it and you go, oh, that has to be amazing. That judgment in your brain is purely based on the depth of colour of that whiskey.
But do you think like
nothing else?
But see, the thing is,
it could be shit inside.
Aye, and it might be, but surely that's like where did that come from? Where did we decide like dark whiskey is good whiskey? Like that must be a complete marketing ploy from the companies rather than
no, because all they're doing marketing isn't creating the way you think. All they're doing is playing to the way you think. So for some reason,
we think a darker whiskey is better.
In all of us, whether it's you, me, the girl next door, whatever, for whatever reason, a dark, rich whiskey seems to be intriguing. It's just like, imagine an aftershave that was like really dark, intense, intriguing and stuff. There's something about the dark side that everybody likes.
I won't disagree. Like when I see like a dark whiskey compared to like a bourbon, very light, like the Stosha, for example, very light, almost urine colour. The darker whiskey obviously looks better, but why? Like why?
Because there's something intriguing about the depth and the depth of colour. There is. It's in your.
Although there can be where like the 28-year-old Tormore, like for me, like that is tasty, and that's like sweet, and that's like you just drink that. Yeah, that's just switch off tasty. But this is more rewarding tasty, whereas that's like switch off tasty. Like that's tasty.
But I had a 33-year-old cadams Tormore, and it was darker than that one there. Now, and the point I want to make is, has the depth of colour got anything to do with it at all, or is it just really good whiskey?
Right, we'll have a look at Ryan. That Milton Duff is banging. I've got too much heavily sherry stuff right now, or else I'd convince myself to buy one. That's a Milton Duff from Cadenheads that looked spectacular. Mark, what's your most controversial whiskey view, lads? Right, I'll get through 2 more comments and we'll stick with that one. But we need some interpunction in these statements. Interpunction?
Can I spell it?
And Ryan, wait till you see all the first fill 8 doors gear coming out. So obviously Ryan's the head honcho, head of 8 doors.
But right, okay. Sorry, by the way, I really forgot. Initially, we started talking about the guy from the distillery in the far north.
Yeah, 8 doors. Yeah,
8 doors.
That was the tall guy. Like,
I know who.
This size.
I know who he is, but we moved off the topic. But what's the update from there? What's he got to say about what's happening there? And
well, can we have an exclusive 10 people Whiskey Wins update about 8 doors? But can we have a? Yeah, we'll get to this. We've got Louise thinks we've got 9 minutes left. What's your most controversial whiskey view, lads? I think for you, right, out with the whiskey community and what you think, I think the most controversial view you have is that you like Dalmore and don't like Springbank.
10 minutes left, boy.
I think that's, for me, that would be but like out with conformity what people think. I think that's probably.
I think that's too black and white. I don't think I can do. No. Okay. The
whiskey has been made. Dun dun dun. That's 8 doors. So most controversial whiskey view for me.
The most controversial whiskey view for me is that, and it is purely for me, I am yet to be convinced that of like Campbelltown malts is just where I can't get my head around. I can't see it, I can't taste it, I can't get it. So if you're asking for a controversial situation, I'd love to, because we've went down there. You know, I've done all the effort. I've bought some stuff and stuff like that. I just can't get it. So that's my most controversial.
I think that would be. I think because that's what I appreciate your views in, because there's a lot of people coming into whiskey, or there's a lot of people who currently enjoy whiskey who would always say like, "Oh, Springbank's amazing, Springbank's this, Springbank's that," without even trying it, without even knowing it. But regardless of you've built a collection, you know what you like, and you've never once said like, "Oh, for the sake of saying it, like I like Springbank." You just can't get into it. And
no.
Do you know the thing is, Thomas, my friend, he's quite similar. He doesn't mind a Springbank now and then, but he can't quite get into it.
I've got a bottle of Springbank because down there, the company I used to work for in Springbank, we share the same insurance company, or insurance broker. I've got a Springbank there that is labelled and bottled by Springbank.
No, it's fine.
I can't remember when it was, but we visited this distillery with the insurance broker. They arranged it all. We had dinner, lunch with the distillery manager. We had all the tastings, and all. So I've got a bottle with a very specific label, labelled with my name and the date of visit on it. That's the only Springbank bottling I've got.
So Bart says his most controversial view in whiskey, the moniker single malt doesn't mean anything these days. I don't really like. I think it's black and white to get single malt. It's not. So I don't really understand. Don't understand that statement. Like single malt doesn't mean anything these days.
Are we talking
But surely, if it's single malt, it's single malt.
Single cask, because single malt means that a number of casks from the same year, from the same distillery, have been vatted together to create a steady.
Ah, right. So why?
Right.
So if you've got like a 10-year-old single malt, right?
A 10-year-old Glenfiddich will more or less always taste like a 10-year-old.
Aye, but it's not a single malt because it's no.
Well, it is. It is a single malt. It's down.
Sorry, aye. He means, aye. So I mean that isn't testament of quality anymore. Aye. So if you see single malt, it doesn't necessarily mean quality.
Well,
that's what he means.
Single malt means consistency, in my opinion.
I know,
that's what single malt means. So single malt means that you've got a whiskey that is a single malt that is consistently the same, and which is what every Scottish distillery except for Loch Lomond goes for.
But I think because Bart's over in the Netherlands, maybe like, I don't know, when you look at whiskies in a shop, you see blend, you see grain, all that, you see single malt, you usually think like single malt, that'll be a good whiskey. But then you pick it and it could be anything, like, because anything can be single malt. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to think. So he's saying, and since it's matured in a warehouse somewhere on an industrial estate far away from the distillery. So I can agree with that. So you got Lagavulin. Remember we went to Lagavulin Distillery?
Yeah.
And you said, where are your casks matured? And they said, mainland. And then they were also saying, but the sea air, it adds all this to the cask and that, but their whiskey's getting matured. And maybe less. Sorry.
The definition of a single malt whiskey is quite clear. You have to read it on internet. Then there's.
It's maybe less.
Then there's the romanticized version of, like, it's only a single malt if it's blah 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 box. Single malt whiskey is what, other than Loch Lomond, what every distillery in Scotland aims to produce is a single malt whiskey with the same spirit profile, and then what to do with that after that is cask experimentation, or
maybe his argument is more like single malt is in like it all gets done in the one place. I could agree with that. Like you should be able to, like, maybe no single malt, I don't know what you call it, 100% Macallan, 100% tomatin, like something that's all done. It's distilled there, the barley's grown there. Maybe the barley's something different, but it's all done there. It's matured there. It's bottled there. That is a single malt. That is all to do with us.
But that's not.
I know that's not a definition.
That's not a definition of a single
but
malt.
But I can understand. I can understand that. Sorry, I'll go through the comments. Next dram for me is a Westland American malt Sherrywood. Can be found undervalued on Milroy site. Aye, good to know that. Well, I think there are also a ton of great blends and grains out there that are bottled with more care than your run-of-the-mill Diageo or Dalmore. It's what a guy earlier said about Kilcoman. At least they make a single malt, in bold. Local, their barley, their malting, matured on site, truly singular. Everything's done. I can kind of understand where he's coming from. Everything's like single.
But that's very unique in today's modern situation, because very, very few places do their maltings anymore. Very few. So the romantic notion of the maltings and everything being done in one place is great, and I would love it. But it's not the case of what happens here. Now there are maltings factories where the barley is malted and produced en masse, and then the distilleries buy it from there. does it change your perception of the quality of the whiskey? I don't think it does it at all. I think
it's got to change at least something.
No, I think it's more of a mental thing where you think, no, I can't be the same because.
But what I'm saying is, like, when we went to Lagavulin, we done that tour, and they're saying there's casks that are like matured by the sea, and there's casks that are matured in mainland. There's got to be a difference between them.
Of course there is.
But that's what I mean. Like,
Absolutely, of course there is.
So would you not say that's a difference between being? It's not single malt. It might be like 100% distillery, but like it's still a single malt by definition. But I think what Bart's trying to say is like 100% distillery rather than. Would you not feel a little bit like there's a little difference between that and that? Like, rather than being single malt, they're both single malts, but they're not 100% distillery. It's not. It doesn't feel. I think
if you buy the distillery.
I think the wording's a little bit. Mark said Stevie makes a good point, but single malt is a term that's vague for experienced drinkers. It is. There's something different. But I said it wasn't unique until a decade ago, to be fair. Mark says Springbank do their malting by hand with local people.
Correct.
Pure graft,
Correct.
like a cigar rolled on the things of a virgin in Cuba.
Yeah, correct.
Bet it's the best fag you'll ever smoke.
No, but does it make the best whiskey ever tasted? No.
It might not be the best, but it'll probably make. I don't know. There's a.
No, I disagree.
All right, let's make it more defined. Would a cask matured on Islay at Lagavulin taste different than that same cask matured in Falkirk? I think it would.
I think it would as well.
So do you think that would be less a Lagavulin of where it's been matured? In layman's term, that would be less of a Lagavulin than, or would it be a different Lagavulin? So that's I think that's where Bart's trying to come from.
That's a very intriguing question.
It'd be like less of what it's supposed to be.
Well, is it?
But do you think would it be? If you're expecting that sea salt, that everything to do with that, surely that's less of what it should be.
Yeah, I think I don't have the answer for it.
Right.
I think it's a very intriguing question, and I think.
Right, we're going to wrap up with some comments, and then we're going to go.
I think also when we were on Islay, and one of the distilleries said, "Yeah, but actually, we don't have the space, so we have to ship a number of our casks to blah blah blah." To be matured. So I actually think it's a very intriguing question, and I don't have the answer for it.
So Mark's saying people are buzzing for Glengarry Malton floors, and for good reason. Bet they'll be collectible soon. They probably will be. James is saying, Stuart, you must have tried the Red Spot 15-year-old Irish. Would you pay the £110? I've tried it, and I don't think I'd pay £110 for it. I think that's a wee bit too much. Bart's came back and said, so if you have a 10-year-old cask of Lagavulin maturing next to a 20-year-old Cardew and a 30-year-old Quinleash next to a warehouse dealing Volvo cars, I think he's just trying to say the difference. And Willie's saying good now all. Right, so we're going to go as well. It's pretty late.
That's a good. What was that last question?
Good night.
Bart's saying, so if you have a 10-year-old cask...
I don't know if we've got an answer for that, but it's a very intriguing thought.
Right. So we're happy to go.
Yep.
You've had 3 for the road, so...
What is...
See you in 6 months, guys.
He says, no, it's not the AGs. He says, no, it's not the AGs, it's the number of casks. So if you have 10 casks of Lagavulin mature next to 20 Cardews and 30 Clynleash next to a warehouse dealing Volvo cars.
Oh, I never, okay.
Rather than the age,
right.
The number of casks. Anyway, good night, troops.
There are scientists who can answer these questions.
Some shift by Louise.
I know, I'm absolutely exhausted, and I've got my full shift soon.
Did you watch Harry Potter?
Yeah, we watched Harry Potter. Yeah.
Which one?
The first one.
Cheers, Stu and Stevie
And Louise.
and Louise. Bart, is that a single malt if it's matured like that? No. Right, we're going to go. Right. Thank you, everybody. It's been a good night. We've enjoyed your company, and Stevie and I have had a good time.
And I now have to walk home with steaming whiskey ones, so thanks for that.